someone weakly called out Shuichi while lying in a hospital bed connected to medical equipment. Another voice urged him, "Take care of Mom Azusa and your sister for me." A kind woman carefully held out a lunchbox, telling someone that she had put their favorite tamagoyaki inside. She wanted them to eat well and focus on their studies. His mother told him she got a new part-time job, so he should not worry about money and just focus on his studies. At the same time, his little sister shared her delicious candy and asked her big brother to try it too. He remembered his little sister sweetly offering him candy and telling him to listen to their mother. But then, a flash of red and black filled his mind, covering the peaceful memory with a horrible, painful feeling. Someone's foot stepped roughly on Shuichi's lunch, crushing it onto the ground. A bully then sneered at Shuichi, surprised to see him at school. The main character took a hard kick from a bully for trying to help someone. The bully was angry that he dared to get involved. The person screamed in agony, their face full of pain as red splatters appeared around them. Someone mocked them for being a weakling trying to help a girl, saying they were too early for such heroics. He tried to help someone, but the attackers were too strong, leaving him severely wounded. Blood spattered around him as he lay there, wondering if he would die. The girl, covered in blood, begged him not to anger their attackers, telling him to forget about her and worry about himself. Her words hung in the air as his world began to fade. A truck's bright headlights suddenly appeared through the rain. Then, everything went dark. A young man with a band-aid on his cheek looked up in shock, caught in a moment of great fear. A shadowy, angry figure loomed over him, adding to his distress. Something terrible happened, and a big, messy splash of red appeared. He lay on the cold ground, hurt and helpless. As the world faded around him, he could only think about his last moments. It was a rainy day on the street when suddenly a tragic accident happened. A life ended in a flash, leaving behind a terrible mess. The man lay on the wet ground, blood spreading around him in the rain. He wondered if this was the end, as his life seemed to slip away. A person lies on the ground, badly hurt and covered in blood, as faint blue lights float around them. In their last moments, they think of their mom and Azusa. It was raining heavily as the man stood with his umbrella, a soft light heading towards him. He felt deep sorrow, wishing he had been able to protect someone in his past life. The person lay there, heavily injured and tearful, feeling completely overwhelmed. A powerful sense of frustration surged through them, seeing their own helplessness in that moment. He wished that in another life, he could protect the people he cared about with his own strength. The young man lay hurt on the wet ground, blood spreading from him in a dark river. People stood around him, just watching in the rain. A bright, sparkling light then streamed downwards, like a powerful force descending. It was the sign of the unique blessing he had just received. A bright, sparkling light streamed down from the heavens, making its way towards a walled city nestled among the hills. Two large birds soared through the cloudy sky as this divine beam approached the world below. High above the land, an eagle flew over the homes on the magic continent of Arcanus. A powerful voice called out to all the faithful people, marking the start of an important day. Many people gathered for a big event in a grand hall. Today was the day for the annual Divine Blessing Ceremony. The annual Divine Blessing Ceremony was about to begin, where children under 6 years old who offer their most prized possession to the gods would be granted a spirit messenger from the gods. The spirit would feel the hidden magic inside a child and give them a chance to learn magic. Kids who wanted this special blessing had to sign up their names. A young child asked his mother if his precious candy could be offered to learn magic. His mother gently told him that only expensive jewels, like those owned by nobles, would be accepted. People around talked about how the jewels offered by Lady Blanc looked so incredibly valuable. It was well known that the more precious an offering was, the better chance a child had to receive a divine blessing. A child happily watches as a woman holds a precious offering, ready for the ceremony. Everyone believes that a more valuable offering means a better chance at receiving a divine blessing. Someone in the crowd mentioned hearing that the Ryan family put all their money into getting the divine blessing for their children. This shows how much hope and pressure was on the family for this important ceremony. The noble family waited eagerly, with the mother smiling as she held her daughter's hand. Someone in the crowd expressed their great surprise and excitement. People wondered how sad it would be if the Ryan family spent all their money and still didn't get a blessing. Holtrian, the head of the Ryan family, watched the ceremony, knowing he had put everything on the line for his family's future. The head of the Ryan family had taken a big gamble for their family's future. He was putting all his hopes on his two smartest children, Lucas and Julia. The family had confidently believed his two children, the smartest ones, would surely be granted high-level blessings. After Julia, the person in charge called for the next child to come forward for the blessing. A small girl, Julia Ryan, stepped forward with her guardian, ready for her turn at the divine blessing. A young girl named Julia gently placed a beautiful, shiny crown on the counter. This precious item was her offering for the divine blessing ceremony. Suddenly, a bright, magical light pulsed around Lucas. Strange symbols formed a glowing circle as power filled the air. A bright, glowing magic circle appeared, filled with strong energy. A small figure stood in the middle as the power swirled around. Julia, Lucas's sister, was amazed to receive the powerful blessing of Kahai, the thunder god. This high-level blessing had not been seen in 12 years. Julia, the seventh child of the Ryan family, received the blessing of Kahai, the thunder god. This was a very high-level blessing, a level 7, which had not been seen in 12 years. Everyone was amazed, saying it had been 12 years since they last saw such a high level of blessing. It was clear to all that the Ryan family had incredible talent and was truly blessed. Julia Ryan glowed with bright, crackling energy as she received the divine blessing. This powerful display showed that she was granted the blessing of Kahai, the thunder god, a very high level of magic. Julia, in her cute pink shoes, walked across the glowing floor after receiving the rare blessing. Everyone was shocked and amazed by her incredible high-level talent. People then started to wonder if Julia's offering, the crown of the thunder track, was truly worth the Ryan family's whole fortune. Everyone knew there was still one more child from the family to receive their blessing. One person wondered if the gift was truly worth the Ryan family's entire fortune, but another quickly reminded them there was still one more child. Everyone watched as Lucas Ryan, the Ryan family's sixth child, prepared to make his offering. Someone nearby thought that the family's secret treasure was surely meant for the last child to offer. They believed this special item would help him receive a powerful blessing. The head of the Ryan family carefully adjusted Lucas's tie. He then told his son that it was his turn for the important ceremony. The father watches as his child holds the precious sword. He tells the child it is time to proceed. A powerful magical power emanating from that sword caused intense flames to suddenly erupt below. Onlookers, including other family members, looked on with wide, shocked eyes. A young boy named Lucas stood proudly, holding a unique sword that seemed to burn with inner fire. Behind him, a massive, flaming figure appeared, revealing himself as Vulcanus, the fire god and the first creator of all magic. The little girl, full of cheer, gave her big brother a thumbs up. She wished him good luck, as their mother watched with a gentle smile. The onlookers were surprised to see such a precious item being offered at the ceremony. Everyone wondered who would dare to give such a valuable gift to the gods. The last child, Lucas Ryan, walked up to the altar with the family's secret treasure. Everyone knew the head of the Ryan family was betting everything he has on this child for a powerful blessing. The sword glowed brightly, surrounded by fire and ancient symbols. It seemed to hold a powerful magic within it. Suddenly, the sky above the grand buildings completely changed color, becoming a fiery red and orange. Everyone watching was incredibly surprised by this strange sight. A man watched in complete disbelief as the sky suddenly changed color, signaling an event unlike anything seen before. He wondered if this incredible sight meant a legendary highest level 9 blessing was taking place. A huge blast of golden light suddenly burst out from the altar. It looked like a powerful, dazzling explosion, filling the entire area. The boy was enveloped in a bright, fiery glow, his eyes half closed as if he was in a daze. He seemed to be experiencing something powerful and overwhelming. The young boy watched as a magnificent, fiery sword appeared before him, surrounded by an intense glow. This was the precious item his family offered, now blazing with the fire god's power. Flames suddenly burst around the young boy, making him stare in utter confusion. He couldn't understand what was happening to him. A young boy was suddenly engulfed in a fierce blaze. His face showed pure shock and pain as the powerful flames consumed him. The young man screamed as intense flames engulfed him. His body was burning with such fierce power that it seemed to twist from the pain. The fire god roared in anger, upset that the Ryan family offered him a sword that almost killed him before. He declared he would burn away the child's soul as punishment. The boy screamed as he was engulfed by intense flames. A massive, fiery sword burned brightly above him. Inside a realm of powerful, bright flames, a god washed over everything. This was the fiery domain of Vulcanus, the fire god. The strange colors in the sky faded away, and everything went back to normal above the town. Everyone wondered what had just happened. Everyone wondered if the divine blessing was over, and where the spirit messenger had gone. Then, someone urgently told everyone to look at the altar. A young girl looked on with wide, shocked eyes, clutching her lollipop. Below her, a man fell, surrounded by streaks of blue fire and debris. Everyone around looked shocked and worried, as if something terrible had just happened. The precious offering, a crystal-like sword, lay shattered on the ground, a clear sign that the divine blessing was rejected. The boy lay on the ground, confused and scared, as a broken offering sat near him. People around him looked on in shock and disbelief at what had just happened. The little girl cried, tears streaming down her face. She was so worried about her big brother, Lucas. Everyone in the hall watched with worry as Lucas lay still on the altar. His younger sister and father cried out his name in alarm. Concerned voices begged Lucas to open his eyes, hoping he would stir from his deep sleep. His family members anxiously waited for him to wake up after the strange ceremony. Then, a voice sadly announced that the god had rejected him. The boy, Lucas, lay unconscious against a woman in a blue dress. He remained still, not waking up after the strange events of the ceremony. Someone announced that Lucas Ryan had been rejected by the great founder of magic. A glowing blue light shot down, confirming the sad news. In the fire god's own domain, a powerful sword burned with a fierce flame. The god was very angry because of this offering. The fire god was still very angry, his domain burning brightly with his rage. He could not believe the Ryan family had offered the sword that nearly killed him. The fire god was very angry, asking how the Ryan family dared to offer a sword that had nearly killed him before. The blade still bears the unforgivable traces of when it cut him. A giant, fiery god looked angrily at the altar, feeling the unforgivable marks left by the sword that had once cut him. He was furious that the Ryan family dared to offer such a blade as a gift. The fire god, Vulcanus, showed off his incredible power. His arm pulsed with molten energy that flowed like lava, surrounded by fierce flames. The fire god was angry about the sword, but he felt generous for only burning away the child's soul. They should be grateful I merely burned away that child's soul. The great fire god, Vulcanus, sat on his throne, radiating intense heat and power. Small fiery spirits floated around him, showing their worship for their mighty god. The fire god noticed a soul from another world had entered the child's body. He decided it was not worth his effort to burn away this new soul. The fire god, Vulcanus, watched the scene with flames burning around him. He then decided to take a look at the tribute that the Ryan family had brought for him. The fire god, Vulcanus, looked at the tribute offered to him, finding it to be a very fine item. At the same time, a mysterious blue light with swirling energy appeared in another place. The young man slowly opened his eyes, surprised to find himself still alive. He wondered if he had truly died or not, as he heard a strange voice calling out to him. A bright, glowing light fills the air, as if a powerful energy is being released. Swirling blue patterns indicate a profound magical event is unfolding. The martial god meditated peacefully in his divine realm, a sacred place known as the Cave of the Heavenly Origin. It was here, in the source of power that governs this world, that he prepared to ascend to an even higher dimension. Bright light washed over the young man, a sign of the incredible power being granted to him. He could feel a profound change taking place deep within his very being. The blessing from the martial god began to change him. A strange power flowed through his body, making his feet glow. A strong energy burst around the boy, shattering the icy barriers that held him. The martial god had chosen him, granting him a power no one expected. He slowly started to open his eyes, feeling the light shining brightly around him. Someone with incredible power steps forward, making the very air around their glowing foot shatter like glass. It seems their new abilities are already showing. The martial god decided to act, and his immense power began to surge, shattering the very fabric of existence. A powerful fist glowed, breaking through a veil of ice and light, as a new path was forged. The martial god appeared as a powerful figure, glowing with incredible energy and determination. He seemed to embody the ultimate strength of martial arts, ready to pass on his blessing. The sky above was full of shimmering stars, with bright blue shards of light raining down. A mysterious, glowing foot appeared from the heavens, making the air feel charged with power. He saw the true source of power, a mighty being that watched over everything in this world. This powerful being, the martial god, had now set its gaze on the boy. A powerful, glowing figure with red hair floats, radiating intense energy, as he looks up at a massive, shadowy creature with sharp claws. He appears to question if this giant being is trying to stop his ascent to a greater power. The mighty martial god, Mars, stood tall and powerful, his muscular form glowing with a warm golden light. His presence was strong, reflecting the great power that he would soon pass on to the boy. A huge, mysterious being with glowing red eyes and sharp teeth seemed to float in the vast starry sky. It looked very powerful, like a god from another world. A giant, powerful creature with glowing red eyes and sharp claws suddenly emerged. It seemed to be ready for battle. In the deep darkness of space, a strange creature released a powerful purple energy. This immense force echoed across the realms, alerting the martial god to a great change. The martial god seemed to notice the young man's thoughts, his powerful presence filling the starry void. A giant eye with a deep red pupil opened, and sharp teeth appeared from the darkness. A powerful surge of energy seemed to awaken deep within the young boy, burning brightly with a fierce new spirit. This was his rebirth, ready to face the world with a strength he never knew he had. The mighty martial god stands tall, glowing with immense power and a determined look. He lets out a strong yell as his power surges around him. A powerful man with glowing eyes and fists gathered his strength, radiating a bright golden light. In the cosmic expanse below, a smaller, glowing figure braced for an incoming attack. A giant, glowing blue hand, almost like a claw, appeared from the starry expanse. It seemed to come from a powerful divine being from another world. A powerful light flared brightly, crackling with raw energy. This was the beginning of the martial god's blessing taking hold. The powerful martial god Mars stood tall and strong, ready to fulfill his duty. He looked determined to pass on his martial arts to future generations. He let out a dismissive sound as he observed the situation. Around him, a strong blue energy swirled with ancient power. A brilliant, swirling light erupted across the cosmos, surrounded by shimmering particles. Within this powerful divine energy, a small figure stood as if at the very center of creation. The great martial god Mars looked down at the world below from his high place. A small smile touched his lips, as if he had a new plan. The martial god's eyes blazed with intense power and determination. He gritted his teeth, ready to grant his blessing to the young boy. The powerful being chuckled, finding the energy source to be weaker than expected. Then, with a strong force, he sent a bright light into the vast, star-filled space. A tiny, muscular attendant spirit cried out in distress, flying through the air. He was very worried about the martial god. A powerful, muscular man, glowing with energy, holds a tiny fairy spirit in his hand. He seems a little annoyed that the small spirit has come to disturb him. A powerful martial god sensed a strange presence and felt a shock. His former partner, Retsuku, had been destroyed. The attendant spirit, who serves the martial god, was very confused by the strange happenings on the Arcanus continent. He wondered what was truly going on, as the powerful aura of the fire god still glowed brightly. 1,000 years ago, martial arts were much stronger than magic, a fact the martial god remembered clearly. He looked quite troubled as glowing energy flowed around him. The martial god was annoyed, thinking about Vulcanus, the fire god, who was now worshipped despite being a weakling he once almost defeated. He also regretted his own deep focus on martial arts, which let that minor god grow so strong. The powerful martial god, Mars, looked a bit troubled as he thought about how spreading martial arts was a huge task for him to handle. It seemed like a lot of work for even a god to manage. I have no interest in developing martial arts. But the martial god, a muscular figure, held a bright flame in his hand. He wasn't interested in growing martial arts himself, but he felt a duty to pass it on to others. The martial god, a being of immense power, felt it was his duty to pass on the knowledge of martial arts to those who would come after him. He floated in a starry realm, contemplating how to ensure his legacy would continue. The martial god stood, looking out at the endless bright cosmos, feeling like a very small part of something much bigger. He was ready to pass on his knowledge to a new generation, even if he felt tiny in this vast universe. The martial god's voice then shared a crucial message, telling the young man he must always keep moving forward. This powerful teaching became a core lesson for the boy in this new world. Suddenly, a faint voice could be heard in the darkness. Someone wondered where the sound was coming from. The boy slowly opened his eyes to a sky full of bright, sparkling lights. He felt confused, wondering if he had truly not died after all. He saw a bright light swirling around him, feeling a powerful energy. This was the martial god's blessing, filling him with a new kind of strength. He was surprised to hear a voice right after thinking he might have died. He wondered who was speaking to him. The strong, muscular god introduced himself as Mars, the martial god. He declared that he would grant a blessing. The boy woke up in his bed, looking confused by what just happened. Little lights shimmered around him, a sign of the new power he had gained. The boy heard a loud voice say his name was Mars, the martial god. This powerful god then promised to give him the martial god's blessing. A powerful, strong-looking god declared that he would grant the boy the martial god's blessing. The boy, still confused, looked up in surprise at this sudden announcement. Lucas is hit by a strong beam of golden light, making him gasp in surprise. It seems like a strange power is going through him. The boy's eyes glowed fiercely, showing that he had truly received the martial god's blessing at the highest level. This blessing meant there would be no limit to how powerful he could become in martial arts. He was still lying down, perhaps still dazed from everything that happened. He wondered what that voice was that he just heard. He sat up, looking confused, and wondered what that martial god at level 9 could be. He was also surprised that spirits could look so strong and muscular. Lucas stared with wide eyes at the very muscular figure flexing its impressive muscles. He was utterly confused by what he was seeing in this moment. He remembered how he should have died, hit by a truck, leaving him covered in blood on the road. Now, in this new world, he wondered why he was still alive after all that. The boy wondered why he was still alive in this strange new place. He couldn't figure out why he was here when he should have died back in his old world. The boy felt a rush of confusing memories, both new and old, crashing through his mind, leaving him dizzy and unsure. Amidst the chaos, he also heard someone call out a name, Lucas Ryan. Lucas let out a small, bitter laugh. He couldn't help but wonder if some higher power was just toying with him. The boy wondered if he had truly died and been reborn as a child in this new magic world. He couldn't help but feel like he was a child abandoned by the gods. He worried that his new family would quickly cast him aside. This is an even more miserable life than my previous one. Lucas wondered about this martial god's blessing he received. He didn't even know what martial arts were. A young boy sat on his bed, looking very sad. A bright pink lollipop had rolled onto the floor next to him. Lucas looked around, still confused and wondering what was happening. Just then, a sweet voice called out to him, "Big brother." The little girl walked away, leaving her favorite candy behind. Her eyes filled with tears, heavy with worry for her big brother. A young girl cried tears of joy, looking down at someone with dark hair who was just waking up. She was so happy because her big brother had finally opened his eyes. His younger sister Julia cried out, so relieved that her big brother was finally awake. She had been so worried about him. The little girl cried, telling him she heard people say he would never wake up, which made her so worried. He tried to cheer her up, telling her not to cry because he was fine. The boy gently patted his little sister's head, knowing this child was Julia, Lucas's younger sister. He thought of his own sister Azusa in his past life, feeling sure she must be sad about his death too. Now, as Lucas, he knew he had to protect his new family with all his might. Since I've been reincarnated, all I can do is protect what's precious to me with everything I have. He looked at his sleeping sister, determined to keep her safe in this new world. He made up his mind to use this new power to protect those he cared about in this strange world. I'm counting on you, martial god. A beautiful altar stands bathed in light, where an angelic statue with large wings watches over the space. A grand altar stood tall and silent. A mysterious winged figure watched over the world, sensing a change in power. Suddenly, his eye began to tear up, a crimson drop staining his face. It was a moment of intense feeling, perhaps pain or strong resolve. A mysterious figure lay drenched in blood, with dark streaks running down their face from their eyes and pooling around their throat. Darkness surrounded everything, with hints of red energy glowing in the shadows. A soft, steady dripping sound could be heard. Something dark and unsettling stirred, covered in a strange red substance that glowed faintly. It looked like a creepy altar, or perhaps a monster that was left behind after a big event. A powerful cursed being finally vanished from this world. Now only a shadowy figure remained, looking exhausted and tangled in dark energy. Someone wondered if the person had died or just left this world, as a hand reached out to a figure floating in a swirling pool of red. A little bit of power still remained to deal with the situation. A wounded figure showed a faint, glowing symbol on their chest, surrounded by what looked like old injuries. Even in this state, they still held on to a small piece of their power. Blood streamed down from a badly injured body. All around, shattered pieces covered the dark ground. She looked up, her long dark hair messy and stained with blood, as dark magic swirled around her. She then declared that without him, this world would eventually belong to them. 9 years had passed since Lucas woke up in this new body, and life continued at the Grand Ryan family estate. The beautiful mansion stood under a clear blue sky. Lucas holds his chin thoughtfully, a small smile playing on his lips. He seemed quite pleased about the new path opening up for him at the Allen Magic School. Lucas stood outside, wiping sweat from his brow. He thought to himself that the area was clear now, so Julia's magic training must finally be finished. Lucas decided it was time to go find Julia. He walked forward, knowing her magic training had just finished up. A shocked expression crossed Jeremy's face as the powerful vines around Lucas suddenly snapped. Julia's magic showed no mercy, tearing through the thorny branches with blinding speed. Lucas looked surprised and unable to move as he was lifted into the air by thorny vines. Lucas found himself trapped by thorny vines, which lifted him into the air and held him tight. He looked surprised and unable to move. Lucas found himself tightly bound by thorny vines, a familiar trap that always made him feel annoyed. There's only one person who would do something like this. He looked at Jeremy, who stood in the background holding a staff, and named him. Jeremy Ryan, Lucas's half-brother, was described as the fourth child and a magic student who received a level 5 blessing. Jeremy called Lucas the one abandoned by the gods. Jeremy Ryan, Lucas's half-brother and a strong magic student, looked at Lucas, who was tied up with thorny vines. Jeremy wondered aloud why Lucas had not been kicked out of the family yet. Jeremy tells Lucas that the family backyard is only for those who can use magic. Right after saying that, thorny vines wrapped tightly around Jeremy. Jeremy stood very close to Lucas, asking if he needed to break a few of his ribs to teach him a lesson. Lucas let out a big yawn, perhaps feeling a bit tired after a long day. He thought about how important it was to be strong to protect what mattered most, no matter what world he was in. Lucas, trapped by thorny vines, warned the person in front of him. He explained that his sister's magic practice was almost finished, and she would be returning soon. Lucas looked on, a thoughtful expression in his eyes, as the family dinner continued around him. He knew he had to become strong to protect what mattered most, no matter what world he was in. Someone warned Jeremy to let go if he didn't want to get burned by lightning, but Jeremy called the person a weakling who needed their sister to protect them, and said he wasn't scared of lightning. A massive bolt of purple lightning streaks down from the dark sky, creating a bright, powerful explosion on the ground. Jeremy screamed as Julia's powerful lightning magic struck him, sending purple energy all around. He looked completely shocked and stunned by the unexpected attack. Master Jeremy ran off in a hurry, leaving the maid surprised and worried. She called out to him as he quickly made his escape. Lucas looked on with a shocked expression as Julia's magic struck Jeremy. Julia arrived, holding her staff that pulsed with a strong magical aura. Her return signaled the end of her intensive magic training. Julia appeared, looking very upset and holding her staff, as lightning sparked around her. She warned Jeremy that if he dared to bully her brother again, she would not hold back. Julia listened to the conversation, pouting stubbornly. She was determined to join the magic school, even if she was told she was too young. Julia, holding her magic staff, rushed to her brother Lucas, offering to free him from the thorny vines that held him captive. Sharp, thorny vines were scattered across the stone ground. They were the remnants of the magic Jeremy had used to mess with Lucas. The father gently patted Julia's head, clearly proud of her amazing talent. Julia smiled brightly, holding her staff, as her brother Lucas looked on. Lucas gave a sly smirk while holding Julia, appearing full of confidence, perhaps already thinking of his position at the magic school. The young girl asked if he had learned his lesson, making sure he wouldn't cause trouble again. The boy looked surprised and a little scared by her words, his eyes wide. Jeremy, clearly still angry, yelled out a warning as a maid quickly led him away from the dining area. He vowed not to forget the special treatment Lucas was getting. Lucas watched Jeremy run away with surprising energy, thinking that Julia must have held back her lightning strike quite a bit. Julia, looking up at her brother, asked him why he didn't fight back against Jeremy. Julia then looked at her brother, confused, and asked why he didn't fight back when she knew he could easily beat Jeremy. He reminded her that his real strength was a secret just between them. Then, he playfully asked if she would protect him, to which she happily agreed. Lucas wore a small smile as a long time had passed. He reflected that 9 years had gone by since he woke up in Lucas's body. Lucas walked with Julia, his younger sister, outside their grand family home. He remembered that it was 9 years ago, the day he first woke up in Lucas's body, when his father came to visit him. Lucas, now awake, worried his father might kick him out for not meeting expectations. Instead, his father was simply relieved to see him safe and sound. Someone was about to say something, but they were cut off. A loud sound echoed, making everyone wonder what was happening. Lucas's father was so relieved that he hugged young Lucas tightly, crying tears of joy. Lucas thought that even so, his father was a good father who cared deeply about Lucas and the others. Lucas looked down, his expression serious even while being held. He thought about his father's true kindness. Even so, he was a good father who cared deeply about Lucas and the others. His father held him close, showing relief. When Holt learned that Lucas had started martial arts training, he immediately sent him a letter filled with useful information. The letter contained cryptic writing, likely important secrets or instructions from his father. Holding a candle, young Lucas looked around a dark, possibly old room. In the background, a silhouette of a man holding a torch could be seen. Thanks to that letter, Lucas decided to execute a certain bold plan. He stood facing away from the camera in the dusty room which looked like a library. The maids exclaimed, "Young Master Lucas," as they saw him walking outside the mansion. Two maids wondered aloud where the young Master Lucas had gone, noting that he was small but always went out alone. The other maid dismissed their worry, saying he would likely be kicked out anyway since he couldn't use magic. The maids talked about Lucas, with one saying he would surely be kicked out because he couldn't use magic. Her friend then wondered if anyone else had noticed the frequent ground tremors happening lately. Two maids were walking through the estate, discussing how the ground had been shaking often these days. One of them wondered if someone was practicing earth magic. Lucas was shown making a forceful impact, suggesting intense effort was being made somewhere. He looked around the dusty, cavernous space, wiping his neck. He breathed out a sigh, having completed a difficult task. He looked around the secret underground training space he had finished building. He felt it was finally good enough, noting a dedicated library area. The secret training ground Lucas dug beneath his room was set up in 4 different areas. There was a study area, a training area, and a storage area. I spent all my money getting equipment for the other areas, so I guess the bathtub can be makeshift. This area served as a sort of bathroom. After finishing the secret training ground, he secretly spent every day getting stronger. Now, in the present day, his hard work continues to pay off. Over 6 months, Lucas secretly dug beneath his room to create a hidden training ground, complete with shelves of books and various training equipment. Here, he continued his intense training every day, pushing his abilities to new heights. Someone steps into a special bath filled with a bubbling purple liquid. Ghostly shapes float up from the glowing pot as the person begins their training. He took a deep breath, relaxing in a medicinal bath as steam rose around him. He knew that soaking in these medicinal baths was the most efficient way to train his martial arts. He kept up his training for 3 whole years, studying a special book from the library called Chaos Tempering Arts. He believed soaking in medicinal baths like the one he was in was the best way to get stronger. Lucas trained for 3 years, regularly soaking in medicinal baths, which he knew was the best way to get stronger. Because of this intense training, even strong magic attacks can no longer hurt him. Lucas reflected on his long training, realizing that his defense was now very strong. He knew it was time to focus on improving his attacking skills next. Lucas, with a sword in hand and his body toned from years of hard work, prepared to practice his offensive moves. He focused on the training dummy, ready to improve his attack skills even further. With a swift motion, someone pulled a shining blade from its sheath, ready for action. The man, shirtless and focused, moved with intense speed as glowing energy lines crisscrossed around him. He continued his martial arts training, pushing himself to become stronger every day. He held a sharp gaze, ready to strike the dummy. His mind was set on growing stronger to protect those he cared about. When it came to offense, Lucas also kept training hard. He worked on improving his skills with weapons like the spear and sword every single day. The young man practiced his martial arts, training with a spear to improve his skills. He moved with intense focus, determined to get stronger every day. Lucas was practicing his moves, holding a spear that glowed with bright yellow energy. This strong light showed the immense power he was putting into his training. As the years went by, Lucas's powers kept growing without stopping, feeling like a blessing from a martial god. He continued to get stronger, reaching new levels of strength that seemed limitless. He trained his offense, practicing with a spear as dark energy swirled around him with each strike. He aimed to improve his fighting skills even more, day by day. Lucas had now reached level 4 with his cloud-piercing swift lightning spear technique, showing how much he had grown. Feeling strong, he decided to practice his fist techniques a bit more today. Over the past 9 years, Lucas's abilities had gotten much better. However, there was still one thing that worried him. He learned from old books that martial artists eventually hit a limit in their abilities once they reach a certain level. No matter how much they train, they cannot improve further after reaching this invisible ceiling. Lucas knew that to get past a certain point in martial arts, one had to gain enlightenment. However, this was very hard to do, and many martial artists would give up before reaching that level. Many martial arts practitioners hit a wall in their training, making it very hard to get stronger, which is why not many people practice it, even though it's as good as magic. But Lucas is different. His power keeps growing without any limit. Lucas worked hard, training his body by hitting a large pillar. He knew he was different from other martial artists who struggled to get stronger. The young man let out a determined breath as he flexed his well-trained muscles. He kept pushing himself harder, knowing his power was growing with each effort. Lucas looked ahead with a sharp gaze. He was determined to become strong, knowing it was essential to protect what mattered to him. Lucas trained his offense by repeatedly striking a sturdy tree, showing how much stronger he had become. He would push himself a little more each day to improve his abilities. Lucas trains hard, pushing his body to the limit with powerful strikes. His every move creates a huge impact, showing just how strong he has become. Lucas, now much stronger, was fully focused on his training, honing his martial arts skills. He had trained for 3 years, and his body had become so tough that even powerful magic attacks couldn't hurt him. He unleashed a powerful move, making the ground explode around him. This was the Berserker Explosive Fist, a strong martial arts technique. His fist glowed brightly with newly gained power. As he reached level 5, he realized his abilities were continuously growing, unlike most who hit a wall in their training. The character wonders if this smooth increase in his power, without hitting any limits, is thanks to a special gift. He believes it must be what people call the martial god's blessing. Lucas finds that his martial arts abilities keep getting stronger and stronger, with no limit holding him back. He thinks this amazing endless growth must be a special blessing from a martial god. Lucas reflects on his progress, seeing his various leveled skills, including Chaos Tempering Arts at level 4 and Berserker Explosive Fist at level 5. He thinks this constant growth must be the martial god's blessing. The old clock on the wall kept ticking steadily, marking the passage of time within the Ryan family estate. The family was gathering soon. Lucas thought about how Holt would be coming home tonight. He was looking forward to having dinner together as a family. The grand estate had elegant windows with flowing curtains. Its ornate designs added to the rich, old-fashioned feel of the house. Lucas walked through the large double doors into the dining hall. The family gathered for dinner because Holt had finally come home. Holt looked at Lucas and mentioned it had been 6 months since they last saw each other. Holt, Lucas's father, welcomed him and asked him to sit down at the table. Lucas answered respectfully, ready for the family dinner. Lucas learned that Allen Magic School was opening a martial arts department this year, and his father had already applied for him. He smiled, understanding this was an important chance for his future. Jeremy sat at the dinner table, clearly annoyed by something his father said. Meanwhile, Holt encouraged Lucas, telling him that while martial arts might be tough, he was sure Lucas could do it and reminded him to prepare well for next week's entrance exam. Lucas calmly thanked his father for arranging his admission to Allen Magic School. He knew that becoming strong was essential to protect what was important to him, no matter what world he was in. Lucas sat at the dinner table, enjoying his meal with the family. He thought about how important it was for him to become strong, no matter what world he was in, so he could protect the people he cared about. However, to avoid trouble, he mustn't stand out too much. Someone might be trying to make trouble for Lucas at the family dinner. He calmly holds out his hand, perhaps to signal them to stop or to brush off their words. Julia arrived back home, looking very happy and excited to be there with everyone. She smiled brightly while gesturing a greeting to the family during dinner. Julia wanted to go to Allen Magic School with her brother Lucas. However, her father gently reminded her that she was only 11 and not old enough to enroll yet. Julia asked if there was an elite course at the school with no age limit. She then shared that she had already received an offer to join this special course. A hand rested thoughtfully on a sealed letter, as someone considered the implications of the upcoming school entrance exam. Lucas wondered if the situation would truly unfold as expected. The father realized that Julia's fame as a genius had spread far and wide, even reaching the Allen Magic School. He hoped a great mage would soon emerge from their family. Jessica Ryan smiled and thought that perhaps a great mage would soon rise from their family. Someone nearby also added that it was amazing. Jeremy grumbled in annoyance as his father wished both Lucas and Julia good luck for their upcoming school entrance exams. Lucas listened with a serious face, while Julia smiled happily beside him. Jeremy was really upset that Lucas was also getting a chance to go to the magic school. He worried that if Lucas somehow got in, it would ruin Jeremy's own good name. Someone grabbed Lucas's collar roughly. He cried out in pain from the sudden tug. Jeremy got really upset about Lucas possibly getting into the magic school. His mother calmly told him to relax and not worry about it. Jeremy, still worried about Lucas going to the magic school, thinking it would ruin his own standing. His mother, Jessica, told him not to worry so much, reminding him that Lucas still needed to pass the entrance exam first. Jessica, Jeremy's mother, smiled smugly as she tried to calm her son's worries about Lucas. Jeremy, on the other hand, still looked upset and anxious. Jessica expressed her doubt, reminding everyone that Lucas still needed to pass the entrance exam. Her son, Jeremy, looked increasingly stressed as his mother talked. 1 week later, the departure day for the magic school finally arrived, with a grand carriage waiting outside the luxurious estate. A kind woman bid farewell to Lucas and Julia, promising to visit them with their favorite pudding once they had settled in. She also reminded them not to forget the lucky coin their father had given them. The golden coin was ancient, originating from the Martial Fortune dynasty that ruled 10,000 years ago, and their father had found it after defeating a magical beast. The back is engraved with the weapons he once used. Lucas recognized the Emperor's face from a past encounter as he gently received the precious coin. Lucas gently received the ancient coin, recognizing the face as Mars, the first emperor he had encountered before. His father then told him to always keep the coin close as a good luck charm. Lucas felt truly blessed to have such a loving family in both his past and present lives, and he smiled, saying he was truly lucky. His younger sister, Julia, enthusiastically cheered that they were officially off on their journey. Several hours into their travels, as the sun began to set, they decided to make camp in a nearby clearing. Night soon fell, with a bright moon casting its light over the quiet forest. Fordon, their loyal caretaker, roasted a marshmallow by the fire, explaining that if they departed early the next morning, they would reach Dacktown and the Allen Magic School by nightfall. Julia, sparkling with excitement, eagerly asked Fordon if there was anything interesting in Dacktown. Fordon chuckled, telling her that Dacktown was famous for its annual magical dodgeball tournament held every spring, which made both Lucas and Julia perk up. He then added that it was also known as a gourmet town, making Julia envision delicious treats. Julia was already drooling at the thought of all the tasty food, and Lucas smiled beside her. Suddenly, Lucas's expression changed as he sensed something. He informed everyone that 12 horses and 13 people were rapidly approaching them at high speed from 2 kilometers away. Lucas asked Fordon if bandits were common in this area, to which Fordon replied that, while possible, the chance of encountering them was quite low. Lucas quietly reflected that thanks to the chaos-tempering arts, he'd gained powerful defense, recovery abilities, and even sharp senses, confirming this was no mistake. He realized their small group of 5, including a child, meant they needed to handle the situation very carefully. Lucas quickly told everyone to get into position because a mysterious group was heading their way at incredible speed. Fordon and Julia looked puzzled, as they couldn't even hear birds chirping, wondering what Lucas was talking about. Lucas firmly repeated his warning, urging them to prepare their weapons without delay. Fordon, though still unsure, ordered his men to comply with Lucas's command. He decided that being cautious was the best approach, even if he didn't know where Lucas got that information. Suddenly, a large group of men on horseback charged through the forest. The sound of hooves thundered as the attackers rapidly closed the distance. Fordon's guards gasped in surprise as the bandits appeared. The bandit leader laughed, declaring, "We've got more easy prey." He explained that his boss was right. Nobles were indeed abundant near the Allen Magic School entrance exam. Another bandit looked at Julia, thinking she would fetch a high price, and even suggested Lucas would be popular with certain clients. Fordon, enraged by their words, drew his sword and demanded if they understood the consequences of harming nobles. The bandit leader scoffed, ordering his men to kill everyone except the 2 children. The bandits charged forward, initiating a fierce battle. Fordon's guards bravely rushed to meet the attackers, shouting, "Master Fordon, I'll support you." One of the guards, a fierce warrior, charged with his sword raised high, shouting, "Hey!" Steel loudly clashed against steel as the battle began in earnest. However, one of Fordon's men was swiftly struck down by a bandit's spear. The fallen guard looked utterly shocked as he was thrown from his horse. Fordon skillfully parried an incoming attack, defending himself with all his might. He focused intently, telling Julia to leave the fighting to him. Fordon unleashed a powerful roar, putting all his strength into a sweeping sword attack. He desperately urged Lucas to escape with Julia, willing to sacrifice himself. Lucas watched in horror as Fordon cried out in pain, having been gravely wounded. His eyes wide, Lucas stared at Fordon, deeply worried. Suddenly, a bandit mage appeared, engulfed in flames, and burned one of Fordon's guards alive. The bandit mage, his eye glowing menacingly, prepared to cast another fiery spell. Fordon was shocked to realize there was a mage among the bandits. Understanding the immense danger, he desperately yelled for Lucas to flee into the forest as another bandit struck him. Fordon was bleeding heavily, severely injured in the chest. Lucas cried out Fordon's name, seeing his loyal protector in such a critical state. The bandit mage declared his intention to burn Fordon alive for killing his comrade. Fordon, despite his wounds, bravely vowed to protect Lucas and Julia, even if it cost him his life. Facing the mage's charging spell, Lucas knew that Fordon, a level 2 martial artist, stood no chance against a mage. He thought about how he had wanted to keep his true abilities hidden, but now he had no choice. Lucas remembered all the kindness Fordon had shown him. Seeing him as practically family now, he firmly decided he could not simply stand by and watch his family get killed. Lucas quickly told Julia to hide here, declaring that he was going to help Fordon-san. Julia looked at him with a mix of fear and understanding. She softly told him to be careful, as Lucas then rushed into the fray. Fordon cried out in pain as another bandit landed a strong blow. He was sent flying by a powerful strike, crashing onto the ground. Fordon struggled to get back on his feet, severely wounded. And, staggering, a bandit raised his sword high, preparing to deliver the final killing blow to the injured Fordon. But before the blade could strike, blood splattered. Fordon looked up, his eyes wide with disbelief at what he was witnessing. He was utterly stunned, barely able to utter, "What?" Lucas, using his amazing Gale Strike ability, launched multiple small pebbles at incredible speed. The pebbles flew through the air, striking several bandits with deadly force. One bandit crumpled as a pebble hit his head, while Lucas stood with his hand glowing, surrounded by a fierce aura. Lucas mused that it was fortunate his Gale Strike had reached level 4 from all his practice hitting flying birds with stones. He confidently thought that taking down a mere level 1 bandit with a pebble was child's play. A remaining bandit shouted in frustration, demanding to know who had killed his comrade so swiftly. Everyone was killed in an instant. The bandit mage was completely shocked that his allies had been instantly defeated. He quickly recovered, launching a large fireball directly at Fordon. Fordon looked up at the incoming attack, knowing he was too weak to dodge it. He sadly reflected that he didn't even have the strength left to dodge attacks, but thanks to someone helping us, the young master would survive. Thank goodness. To Fordon's astonishment, Lucas moved with incredible speed, his hand glowing, ready to intercept the fireball. Lucas extended his hand, meeting the fireball head-on and making it burst harmlessly. He floated gracefully in the air for a moment, having cancelled the dangerous magical attack. Fordon stared, his jaw dropped, completely shocked by Lucas's impossible feat. He stammered, "Young master?" in disbelief, seeing that the powerful fireball had been completely negated. The bandit mage, despite his surprise, believed he could still launch a counterattack with his fire snake spell. Lucas's eyes glowed with fierce determination as he faced the mage. He declared the mage was finished, unleashing his powerful berserker explosive fist. Lucas's explosive punch sent the mage flying backward with a loud scream of pain. The defeated mage was violently slammed into the ground, a victim of Lucas's unexpected strength. Fordon looked at Lucas, utterly dumbfounded, asking how he had managed such incredible feats. Lucas, with a slight smirk and a bit of blood on his cheek, playfully suggested that he seemed to have a talent for martial arts. A humorous depiction showed Fordon and another guard reacting with comical shock and disbelief at Lucas's hidden powers. Suddenly, Lucas's expression changed again as he sensed another far more menacing presence. Both Lucas and Fordon looked up, seeing a disturbing shape appear in the distance. A horrifying skeletal monster with sharp bone structures and glowing purple eyes emerged from the darkness. The grotesque creature had a skull-like head and sharp, bony appendages, revealing an even greater and more terrifying threat. The horrifying creature roared, showing its bone structure. A terrifying monster with sharp teeth and covered in blood attacks with a fierce roar, threatening to kill. In the background, the hero and an older man watch with concern. The monster continues its deadly assault, glowing red with dark energy. The monstrous creature's fangs are bared, radiating an intense, bloody red aura as its attack intensifies. The hero looks serious, thinking deeply about this strange and dangerous creature. The hero faces the monster directly, which is now swirling with dark energy and ready to strike with its claw. The hero decides he cannot let his little sister, Julia, see such a scary monster, and he must defeat it quickly. Moving fast, the hero dodges a powerful blow from the monster. The monster lunges forward, its glowing eye fixed on the hero as it tries to hit him. The hero responds with a strong attack, surrounded by a bright, golden light. His powerful attack causes a huge burst of golden energy to explode. With a determined look, the hero prepares his next move against the monster. He unleashes a powerful red and fiery attack, pushing the monster back. The monster is now caught in heavy chains, unable to move freely, while an injured bandit lies nearby. The hero asks aloud, wondering what kind of creature this chained monster truly is. The monster struggles against the golden magical chains that bind it. With its mouth wide open, the monster roars as the magical energy holds it tight. The monster thrashes about, its long tongue visible, trying to break free from the chains. The hero thinks about the monster, asking if it's the one controlling the dead. A mysterious purple symbol glows above him. The hero decides that if normal hits don't work, he'll try a different kind of attack, gathering golden energy in his hands. Golden energy surrounds the hero's body, making him ready for a powerful blow. The monster raises its clawed hand, preparing to strike back. The hero delivers a strong, glowing punch right into the monster. He continues his relentless assault, hitting the monster with a series of powerful glowing strikes. The hero's eyes are sharp and focused as his glowing fist powers up for another hit. He launches a special attack, an explosive chi opening palm, directly at the monster. A huge, bright burst of golden light explodes from the hero's powerful palm strike. The intense golden light covers everything, showing the massive force of the hero's attack. The monster's body glows intensely as it's hit by the golden power. The monster begins to fade away, turning into dust with a purple shimmer. The monster completely disappears, dissolving into dark smoke and leaving the hero standing victorious. The hero watches as the last traces of the monster vanish into nothing. He breathes a sigh of relief, clearly tired after the difficult fight. The dust settles, revealing the hero standing alone in the quiet aftermath. Julia, his little sister, joyfully runs towards him, calling out, "Big brother!" Julia hugs her big brother, telling him he's amazing for beating all the bad guys. A shadowy figure, one of the rescued people, stands in shock, wondering what just happened. The hero looks around, perhaps noticing something or someone nearby. A horse Maze, standing quietly in the forest. Maya, the noble young lady, sits on the horse. Maya looks worried, her mouth covered and her hands tied. The hero has a sudden realization, possibly about the situation, as the defeated bandits hang upside down below. The noble girl, Maya, winces from where she is tied up. The captured bandits hang upside down, clearly defeated. A mysterious woman bathed in blood notices that number 4, the monster, has disappeared. She wonders who could have been powerful enough to defeat it. She decides that it doesn't matter who won. Her main goal is to recover her own power. Back with the group, the hero learns the noble girl's name is Maya Rasta. Julia exclaims, "Oh, so your name is Maya Rasta?" While the hero and Fordon stand in the background. The hero looks surprised, feeling like he has heard the Rasta name somewhere before. The hero asks Maya why she and her group were attacked by bandits. Maya looks down, tears welling up as she remembers the scary events. Julia expresses shock, possibly reacting to Maya's distress, or what she is about to say. A close-up shows Maya's eye tearing up as she recalls the trauma. She recalls how a bandit laughed cruelly during the attack, showing no mercy. Maya recalls how her guards were killed, one after another, in the attack. She continues, explaining that her maid tried to protect her and ended up in a terrible situation. The maid cried out in terror, realizing that telling the bandits she was a noble made no difference. A bandit licks his lips, clearly delighted by their capture. Maya, still tied up in the memory, realizes the bandits only wanted to kidnap noble children. The hero reassures both Maya and Julia that all the bad guys are now dead. Later, Fordon tells the young master that Lady Maya and Lady Julia have already gone to sleep for the night. Sitting by a campfire, Fordon asks the hero what he thinks about Maya's story. Fordon roasts food over the fire, while he and the hero sit talking. Fordon believes these bandits are not new to this kind of crime. The hero thinks deeply, considering that the bandits have likely been targeting noble children for some time. Fordon explains that these bandits can use magic and even control the dead. He concludes that there must be a terrifying demon controlling them from behind the scenes. Fordon promises to tell the master about this right away, and tells the young master not to worry. He also suggests contacting the Rasta family for help and avoiding future trouble. Over the campfire, some food is being roasted on a stick. The next day, in Dak Town, located near the border of the Carmina Empire, the hero is surprised by a suggestion. He's told to cancel their plan to stay and look around Dak Town, because the bandits' friends might be there. Julia looks disappointed, making an awe sound at the thought of not exploring the town. The hero explains that changing their plans is for Julia and Maya's safety, and asks for their understanding. Maya agrees, understanding that safety is the most important thing. Julia still looks a little sad, but she accepts the decision, appearing somewhat grumpy next to the hero. The hero smiles, telling Julia that he will buy her whatever she wants to eat from the town's gourmet district when they pass through later. Julia's face lights up, and she thanks him happily, while Maya comments on how well the siblings get along. Fordon asks if they want to open the window and look outside now that they are in the town. Julia and Maya eagerly lean out the carriage window, excited to see the sights. Julia exclaims, "Wow!" as she looks at the impressive buildings outside. The carriage moves through a lively town street, with many people walking about. The hero mentions that this is the second largest town after the imperial capital, full of activity. Maya is delighted, saying how lively and bustling the town is. The hero, Julia, and Maya continue to enjoy the view from the carriage window. The hero thinks to himself that this town feels just like the city he lived in during his past life. A beautiful view of the town's charming architecture and green leaves floating in the air is shown. The girls are startled by a clown-like street vendor, but Julia quickly gets excited by the sight of delicious bread, donuts, and cakes. The hero returns to the carriage, carrying bags of delicious treats, making Julia cheer with joy. Maya kindly offers a donut to Julia, who happily accepts it. The hero watches them with a warm, gentle smile. Fordon tells the group that this is where he must part ways with them. The hero assures Fordon that he will protect Julia. Julia, with great energy, says she will protect her big brother too. Fordon places his trust in the hero, calling him a genius mage. Julia grins, promising to handle things, feeling very important. Fordon watches them, finding it amusing that the big brother is being protected by his little sister. Maya smiles softly, observing the touching interaction between the siblings. Fordon watches as the hero, Julia, and Maya walk away together towards their destination, the magic school. Maya tells the hero and Julia that they are both very kind people. The hero smiles, expressing how glad he is to have met the siblings. Maya blushes slightly, clearly touched by the hero's kind words. Fordon suddenly remembers something important from the past. He recalls that Lady Maya was once the young master's fiancée, and they were very close when they were children. However, the engagement was called off when the young master was thought to have no magical talent, making him feel incompetent and abandoned by the gods. The Grand Allen Magic School, located south of Daktown, stands as one of the 3 most prestigious schools in the Carmina Empire. All new students take an exam 1 year after enrollment. Based on those results, they are divided according to their characteristics into the Earth Department, Fire Department, Wind Department, and Special Department. If you study here for 6 years and graduate successfully, you can obtain a mage qualification. Of course, excellent students receive special treatment too. Students who pass the mage examination during their studies can graduate without having to stay until their 6th year. At the school plaza, a young man named Lucas walks with his little sister, Julia. Lucas looks ahead with determined eyes. Julia, walking beside him, looks a bit annoyed. Lucas thinks it is a pity he could not take the entrance exam with Maya-san. He recalls that Maya-san left early that morning to take the exam with family members who came to accompany her. If she is with her family, she won't be in danger anymore. He hopes they all pass and become classmates from now on. He then reminds Julia and himself to focus on their own entrance exam for now. Julia suddenly appears energetic and excited, moving forward. Onlookers marvel at Julia's cuteness, wondering if she is also an examinee. They comment that she can't be, as she looks only about 12 years old. They also notice her handsome brother Lucas, and some wish they had a cute little sister like her. They comment that her brother looks similar and is handsome too. Suddenly, Julia stops, looking surprised as a woman calls out to her. The woman introduces herself as Mina, the vice president of the Allen Magic School Student Council. She asks if Julia secretly followed her brother. Julia quickly denies it, explaining that she came to take the exam together with her brother. Mina is surprised to learn that such a young child is also participating in the entrance exam. Mina then wonders if Julia is the exceptional girl to whom the elite course had already offered a spot. With a smile, Mina confirms Julia's name, asking if she is Julia from the Ryan family. Both Lucas and Julia are surprised that Mina knows Julia's name. Mina tells Julia she will find out soon enough, and offers to guide her to the reception desk. Lucas feels completely overlooked by Mina. Lucas then remembers that he also needs to register for his own exam. Mina realizes she had forgotten about Lucas and looks a little flustered. Mina confirms Lucas is taking the martial arts department exam. Suddenly, Lucas is surrounded by shadowy figures with glowing red eyes, who are mocking him. Someone mocks him, saying it is hilarious that he is coming to Allen Magic School to train in martial arts. The shadowy figures then comment that martial artists are at least somewhat more useful than magical beasts. Lucas overhears this, noting those condescending looks are the same ones he is used to even at Allen Magic School. He thinks mages all think they are more noble. However, Lucas confidently believes that in reality every single one of them is a weakling. He recalls his past victories against powerful enemies. He thinks that whether it was Jeremy or that monster, they are all insects compared to him. Lucas internally grumbles that if enrolling here wasn't his parents' kindness, he wouldn't waste his time in a place like this. Mina overhears him and appears concerned, as Lucas seems to have spoken his thoughts aloud. She looks worried that he might have caused trouble. Mina calls Lucas by his name, getting his attention. She then kindly asks him to come along, promising to guide him to the exam venue after his registration is complete. Lucas is pleased that Mina doesn't judge him like others, noting that she doesn't look at him through colored glasses. He accepts her help with a smile, saying then he will be in her care. The sun shines brightly over the Grand Allen Magic School building. As examinees gather, Mina appears, surrounded by glowing papers, explaining the registration process. She instructs examinees to hand in their forms and provides them with their emblems. She tells them that their examinee number is stored in the emblem and they must wear it when entering the venue. Mina then outlines the 3 test items. First, a magical potential measurement using a magic light. Second, a compatibility test with spirits to determine their element. Finally, a test using dummy dolls to measure their magical destructive power. Lucas asks if martial arts examinees follow the same test process, and Mina confirms that for fairness, all departments share the same entrance exam. Lucas questions if it is truly about fairness or just too much trouble to create a separate test for the martial arts department. An old man nearby says that everyone being the same is fine. Lucas clenches his fists, understanding the situation. He vows to use this opportunity to showcase his power and dispel the students' prejudice against martial arts. The examiner announces, "Now then, let's begin the first test. Examinees, place your hands on the magic light in order." The examiner watches as a student approaches the magical device. When one student produces 0 magical potential, the examiner exclaims, "This is a phenomenon that occurs once every 1,000 years. Aha! 0 potential." Other students mock the result, saying that martial arts examinee from earlier was 0. They joke that he won't be able to grow even in the martial arts department. Lucas sighs, realizing he is once again encountering the same old prejudice. As the next student touches the light, it begins to emit a purple hue. The purple light represents a potential value of 7 out of 10. A very impressive score. The examiner states that this student is surely among the top of this class. Lucas, observing the scene, thinks everyone is naive to be so surprised by a score of 7. He then tells Julia not to hold back today. Julia agrees. While the examiner is puzzled by Lucas's mention of holding back, Julia places her hands on the magic light, and it begins to radiate an incredibly bright golden light. The golden light bursts forth, illuminating the entire hall and causing a great flash. The other examinees are completely shocked and awestruck by the intensity of the light. The examiner exclaims, "This is golden light." He states that it is 1 step away from the maximum value of 10. He notes that 2 years ago there was a student who also produced golden light, but this child is much younger, showing truly incredible talent. Julia continues to radiate pure golden light, confirming her astonishing magical potential. Julia joyfully looks at her big brother, who smiles proudly back at her. She asks her brother if she was amazing. Her brother praises her, declaring she will become an archmage. Someone in the crowd whispers negatively about the genius mage and her talentless brother. Others quickly shush the person, warning them not to insult Julia's brother, fearing her strong reaction. Lucas smiles, thinking it is not worth making a genius an enemy over some trash, knowing everything unfolded exactly as he planned. Julia, now appearing with cat-like features and glowing with anger, fiercely warns everyone that she will not forgive anyone who bullies her brother. If Julia displays her talent fully, Lucas can lead a peaceful student life. Lucas muses about this, remembering his 3 years of continuous effort to prepare her. He recalls using his skill, mage empowerment, to enhance Julia's talent, concluding that all his hard work was indeed worth it. The next challenge is announced, and everyone is told to move to the spirit hut for the second test. Lucas feels that today is the moment all his plans and efforts will finally bear fruit. Lucas and Julia walk hand in hand, ready to face the next stage of the entrance exam together. The compatibility test venue was bright, ready for the next group of students. Many different spirits, like fire, water, wind, and earth, flew around, waiting to connect with students who shared their element. People watched, amazed, as a fire spirit seemed to react strongly, almost like it was in pain, drawing everyone's attention. Little Julia stood at the center, surrounded by glowing spirits of all kinds, happily interacting with them. Julia beamed, her talent so great that spirits from every element gathered around her, surprising everyone watching. The observers were stunned. Even someone with a level 6 wind god's blessing couldn't attract a single spirit. Yet, all the spirits rushed to Julia, showing her incredible compatibility with all magic. Lucas, her big brother, smiled to himself, pleased that his special mage chi circulation technique was working perfectly to boost Julia's magical power. He noted that Julia, even at just level 2, was now more than capable of passing the entrance exam, as the crowd continued to marvel at her. An official congratulated Julia on her astounding compatibility score of 90, the highest among all examinees, and she politely thanked him. But as she stepped away, Julia noticed the intense, focused stares of the other students, making her feel a little uneasy. Shadowy figures of students surrounded her, their eyes glowing with admiration, calling her cute and a genius, which scared Julia. Feeling overwhelmed, Julia quickly hugged her big brother Lucas, seeking comfort and protection from the strange looks. Julia, looking worried, quickly declared that she'd better go first. Lucas asked what was wrong, and Julia nervously explained that she was frightened by the way everyone was looking at her. He gently told her that it couldn't be helped. She was a genius, and people would naturally react that way. Lucas affectionately patted her head, advising her not to worry about what others thought, and to slowly get used to the attention. Julia, feeling more secure, bravely declared that she would become strong to protect her big brother, and he encouraged her to do her best. Lucas realized he hadn't expected Julia to be so bothered by other people's stares. He decided that besides improving her magic, he also needed to help her build more courage and a stronger spirit to handle the attention. Two men discussed Julia's talent, initially thinking she might be from royal blood, but dismissed the idea because her brother was considered incompetitive. Someone remarked that Lucas probably scored 0 again, recalling how spirits scrambled to avoid him when he entered the venue earlier. The spirits clearly looked disgusted by Lucas, a detail not missed by the onlookers. One man remembered another strange incident that happened after the second test, hinting at Lucas's unusual interactions with spirits. He vividly described how, the moment Lucas came out, a fire spirit's arm seemed to tear off, leaving him utterly terrified. Another person doubted the story, saying spirits were too small for that to happen, but the first man insisted he saw it, while Lucas and Julia walked by, unnoticed. Lucas, hearing their conversation, gave a subtle smirk, realizing there were witnesses to his peculiar encounters. He recalled his own experience during the second test, where he felt the spirits were particularly hostile towards him. Lucas remembered that the fire spirits acted especially badly because he had been rejected by the fire god. When the test ended and he tried to leave, a mischievous fire spirit spat a stream of fire at him. The fire spirit held a grudge against Lucas for being killed in his past life, attacking him with fire. Lucas casually slapped the incoming fire away, recognizing that the spirit's lingering resentment was much like his own. He looked on with a calm expression as the fire spirit he just deflected stumbled back. Lucas thought that a mere servant of the fire god had no right to act so arrogantly toward him, then told Julia it was time for the final test. He teasingly asked Julia if she thought she could take first place again, and she confidently replied she would be fine as long as he didn't go all out. Lucas agreed not to go all out, planning for Julia to protect him during the test. They arrived at the next area, the Magic Destructive Power Test venue, which was filled with many shining, white dummy dolls. The venue featured rows of sturdy metal dummy dolls, and Lucas and Julia entered, ready for their final challenge. Nearby, other students complained about the genius taking first place, and vented their frustration by planning to punch the dummy dolls. They wondered if Julia would completely destroy a dummy doll, but everyone quickly dismissed the idea, saying it was impossible. The dummy dolls were explained to be made of special metal with strong defensive magic, able to withstand any attack below curse class level. The students were sure that someone Julia's age couldn't possibly unleash a curse class attack, while Lucas quietly observed the sturdy dolls. Lucas saw this as a perfect chance to test his own level 6 skill. He thought that going to school wasn't so bad if it meant he could use such expensive equipment. Suddenly, a student loudly accused Lucas and Julia of cutting in line. A girl in a blue dress confronted them, telling them to wait their turn and that those without talent should stand at the back. Then, a girl with long dark hair and intense red eyes, named Iwa, commanded the first girl to move aside, her glare radiating powerful magic. The girl in blue froze, overwhelmed by the powerful magical pressure emanating from Iwa, who had a glowing core inside her. Iwa stood tall and confident, her dark hair flowing, exuding an air of authority and strength. With a dismissive, "Huh," Iwa looked down at the student she had just dealt with. She then turned her sharp gaze to Julia, asking if she was the one who scored 40 on the compatibility test, making Julia gasp in fright. Iwa's eyes glowed fiercely red as she stared down at Julia. Julia, visibly frightened, grabbed Lucas's arm, saying that this lady was scary. Lucas calmly stepped forward, asking Iwa who she was. Iwa proudly announced herself as Iwa Miranda, the granddaughter of Duke Miranda. She presented herself with an air of nobility, her family crest visible on her attire. Lucas's mind raced, recognizing the name Miranda. He recalled that the Miranda family was one of the three most powerful noble houses in the empire's northern region, known for its grand castle. The Miranda clan was also famous for having produced a legendary mage in the past. Lucas then pictured his mother, realizing the connection. Iwa was the daughter of his mother's younger brother, Cyan Miranda. Lucas smiled softly, recognizing his cousin, then thought about how old Iwa must be now. Iwa, annoyed by his gaze, told him she was 15 and warned him not to stare at her. Lucas then revealed that they were actually cousins, a fact that clearly caught Iwa by surprise. Iwa was furious, claiming she had never heard of having cousins, and declared she would embarrass Lucas and Julia in front of everyone. With glowing, star-shaped patterns in her eyes, Iwa cast a powerful mental magic spell, creating a red magical circle around Lucas. The glowing star enveloped both Lucas and Julia, trapping them in Iwa's mental magic attack. Iwa commanded them to strip off their clothes and dance pathetically, but Lucas simply smirked, unfazed. Lucas, secretly annoyed, wondered what kind of education the Miranda family provided for Iwa to use mental magic on family she had just met. Iwa was shocked and confused, realizing her most powerful magic was having no effect on Lucas. Lucas, with a slight grin, silently mocked her, questioning if such flimsy magic could control a strong-willed martial artist like him. An official then announced the next person and specifically called for Lucas Ryan to prepare for his turn. Iwa, still fuming from her failed spell, loudly told Julia not to get too confident. Iwa declared that she would take first place in this test, and Lucas just let out a small chuckle. Lucas glanced at the scoreboard, noting that Iwa was indeed in second place, and realized she had come to challenge Julia for the top spot. He decided that for the sake of his own peace, he couldn't allow Julia to give up her first place. Lucas then offered Julia some candy from his hand, and she looked at it with curiosity, asking if it was good. Julia innocently munched on the candy, but her expression quickly changed to shock, clearly tasting something unpleasant. Julia coughed violently, accusing Lucas of being a liar because it wasn't candy. Lucas playfully apologized, admitting it wasn't candy, but super bitter medicine. He explained it was a special magic medicine made with rare ingredients, promising Julia would understand its effects soon, though she still looked doubtful. Lucas reassured Julia he would improve the taste next time, preparing to take his turn as the official called his name, Lucas Ryan. Julia, no longer believing him, watched Lucas walk onto the test field. The official instructed Lucas to attack the dummy doll with his full magical power. They would then measure the destructive force of his attack to determine his final grade. Lucas calmly informed the official that he couldn't use magic, which left the official looking very confused. With a confident smile, Lucas then asked if he could use physical strikes instead. People were surprised that Lucas was going to use just his hands for the power test. They thought martial artists were barbaric. Lucas's sister Julia watched with a stern face, remembering how people looked down on her brother. She felt they didn't understand his true strength. Julia felt like beating up the people who were talking bad about her brother, but she remembered his words to behave at school, or she would have beaten them all up. Another student then asked if Lucas really couldn't use magic. The other student found it hard to believe that someone immune to her mental magic couldn't use any magic at all. She was confused by Lucas. Julia proudly declared that her big brother was amazing, even if he couldn't use magic. She then secretly thought he was a bit of a silly person, even though he was a good person. The other girl still doubted Lucas, believing a martial artist couldn't do anything impressive. She felt Julia was just being tricked by her brother. Suddenly, a huge force made the ground shake and sent debris flying, surprising everyone. A large screen in the arena was badly damaged. The dark-haired girl stared with wide eyes, completely shocked by the sudden event. She couldn't believe what she was seeing, wondering what just happened. Lucas stood calmly in the middle of the mess, leaving everyone wondering what incredible thing just took place. The story then jumped back 2 minutes to show what led to this moment. Moments before, Lucas had asked the instructor if he could use physical attacks for the test. The instructor agreed, saying any method of attack doesn't matter. Lucas simply said understood and got ready to perform his test. his face serious. Lucas knew that martial skills become much stronger every 3 levels. His strongest skill now, Ultimate Flash, got a huge speed boost at level 3, and he expected a huge power increase at level 6. Now that he was level 6, the power should be way up. As he powered up, Lucas glowed with a golden aura, ready to unleash his full strength for the test. He slammed his foot down, creating a burst of dust and showing his immense power. Then, Lucas moved with incredible speed, his form a blur of golden light as he launched his attack. He threw a powerful punch, leaving a trail of intense energy behind it. The training dummy lit up red as it was hit, then instantly started to crack. With a huge explosion, Lucas unleashed his attack, and the dummy started to shatter. Lucas finished his kick, looking down at the complete destruction he had caused, creating a cloud of dust. The ground beneath the dummy also broke apart from the force, shown by the cracking sound effects. Only dust remained where the dummy once stood, with a faint glow still visible from the impact zone. Lucas stood tall in the arena, surrounded by settling dust. Lucas stood tall in the arena, surrounded by settling dust. The dummy, totally gone. The dark-haired girl stared, realizing Lucas's speed was comparable to high-level wind magic. She was shocked that the dummy glowed gold, meaning Lucas's attack had power like a curse. While others only saw him as a talentless martial artist, she felt she was the only one who noticed Lucas's true ability. Judging by his actions, it seems like he is trying to keep it hidden. To her, he seemed like a very terrifying guy. The instructor, claiming the dummy had malfunctioned, gave Lucas a perfect score. Lucas offered to clean up the shattered dummy. The instructor told Lucas not to bother, saying he would move the heavy dummy with magic. Lucas, seeing his good score on the screen, gave a knowing smirk and showed a peace sign to Julia. Julia cheered happily, while Lucas silently congratulated himself. He was pleased to have passed the test and kept his full power a secret, even playfully thanking those who had looked down on him. As the exams continued, most students started to forget about Lucas's impressive display. Instead, everyone's attention turned to Julia, amazed by her incredible magical abilities. Julia confidently cast a spell, and powerful purple lightning crackled around her and her magic staff. A huge, glowing purple magic circle appeared beneath Julia, showing the strength of her spell. Suddenly, red lightning sparked around Julia, making her look even more focused and powerful. The red lightning flashed brightly, showing the intense energy Julia was now wielding. Her powerful red lightning then hit the dummy with a direct strike. Other students were amazed, noting that the red lightning was right under the top-ranked Gold Thunder. They praised Thunder Magic as the best for attacking, and hoped to one day reach Julia's skill level. But then, someone noticed Julia was sitting on the ground, holding her head, looking exhausted after her powerful spell. They wondered if her own powerful lightning magic had accidentally hurt her. Julia looked a little dazed, but her score was shown as an impressive 9.5. With the scoring done, the instructor called for the next student to come forward, with the damaged dummy still visible. Later, Lucas and Julia talked about her lightning. Julia explained her surprise at seeing red lightning, since she had only ever been able to create purple before. Julia mentioned that the lightning felt much stronger and more unusual than anything she had cast before. Lucas realized the powerful magic was due to a special pill he had given her, which temporarily boosted her magic. He decided it was better not to tell Julia about it. That's thanks to the magic pill you had earlier, which temporarily boosts a mage's strength. Maybe it's better not to tell Julia about it. In this world, both mages and martial artists have their own pharmaceutical skills. Mages practice potion alchemy, unlike potions which always need a container or base. But pills made by martial artists can be directly absorbed by the body. Martial arts have become less common, so Dan refining is almost a lost art. It's extremely rare nowadays for a martial artist to create a magic storage pill that can boost someone's abilities like Julia's. Martial artists who can create the magic accumulation pill that increased Julia's power are extremely rare in modern times. The reason is, you need to reach level 6 in Dan refining to make a magic accumulation pill. Right now, only one person besides me in the whole empire can make them. Duke Retsuzan, the only level 6 martial artist alive, Minister of Martial Affairs. Even the greatest mages lower their heads and beg Duke Retsuzan for magic pills. If people found out I can make them, it would be a huge hassle. So this has to stay a secret, Lucas said, while Julia looked confused beneath him. The scene shifted to a peaceful moment outside the academy, with a bright, sunny day. Lucas and Julia sat together on a bench, waiting. Lucas asked Julia, "Almost done?" He told Julia that class assignments would be posted soon, and then they could finally rest. Their teacher, Mina, walked up to them, Waving a friendly hello, Lucas asked Mina why she had come to see them. Mina explained that she was there to post the new class assignments. She congratulated both Lucas and Julia for being ranked first in their respective classes. Julia's eyes lit up with joy, and she excitedly asked if she really was the #1 student in the elite class. Lucas praised Julia for her achievement, telling her he believed in her. Julia happily promised to do her best. Mina then asked them about their plans for next year, explaining there were 5 different departments. She told them that students would be sorted into these departments after another test next year. There are 5: Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, and Special. Julia wondered if the Wind department would be a good fit for her. With her blessing of the Thunder God, Julia confidently declared that she would aim for the Wind department. Mina seemed pleased by Julia's decision, while Lucas noticed how eager the academy was to secure top students. Mina then offered to escort Julia to the girls' dorm. Julia waved goodbye to Lucas, and he asked Mina to take good care of his sister. Lucas then decided to go to the martial arts dorm. Guess I should head to the martial arts dorm. On his way, he saw the class assignments were also posted for his own class. Other students gathered around the board, commenting that Julia Ryan was, predictably, #1. They felt bad for the other new students, whose talents seemed less bright next to hers. The class list prominently displayed #1 Elite, Julia Ryan, leaving the dark-haired girl from before disappointed about her own results. They felt they lost in the end. With a fierce look, the dark-haired girl vowed she would take first place for the whole year, challenging Lucas and Julia to just wait and see. The new student, Lucas, observed the school grounds, noting that the martial arts department wasn't expected to achieve much. He looked at the old, run-down building, wondering if anyone could truly live in a place that looked like it was about to fall apart. Despite the grim appearance, Lucas decided he would at least be able to enjoy a peaceful school life without anyone bothering him there. Suddenly, another student approached him, recognizing Lucas as the top student who entered the martial arts department. The cheerful student introduced himself as Kai Taroy, also from the martial arts department, extending a friendly hand. Later, inside a room, Kai watched Lucas, impressed by his skills. Kai praised Lucas for hitting a dummy doll from across the room, but Lucas humbly replied that it was just luck. Lucas and Kai were shaking hands after an introduction, while an elder sat observing them. An elder handed them keys, explaining that their rooms were on the 2nd floor. Kai happily noticed they had the same room number and suggested they go together. The two walked down a long, dimly lit hallway, searching for their assigned room. They soon found their room, where 2 other new students were already waiting. The other student introduced himself as Sharp, also happy to meet them. However, Kai's cheerful demeanor quickly changed as he took in their surroundings. He exclaimed in shock at the messy and dilapidated state of the room, with broken furniture and dirt everywhere. The room was visibly dirty with debris on the floor and windows. He then shrieked about a spider, asking Lucas if he seriously intended to stay in such a filthy place. Lucas, annoyed by Kai's complaints, silently thought of him as a pampered germaphobe. Without saying a word, Kai reached into his pocket. He then loudly offered a golden coin to anyone willing to clean the room. The other students were astonished, realizing he was casually offering an amount far exceeding a commoner's monthly wage for just one cleaning session. Lucas understood that Kai must be the son of the wealthy Taroy family. But Kai continued to complain about living in a dump. Kai tried to reassure himself that the school environment would eventually improve, but then a spider dangled right in front of him. He screamed in terror, calling the room a practical prison cell, while Lucas watched. Lucas warned Kai that complaining so loudly might attract the attention of the student council members, who could drag them away. Later, the exterior of the building showed signs of being neglected. Soon after, the room was sparkling clean, thanks to the other students who eagerly took Kai's offer. Kai, pleased with the result, gave out the rewards, holding a shimmering golden coin. He then proudly declared that he would protect his roommates from now on, as he was quite well known in his hometown. Lucas reflected that while Kai was arrogant, his generous nature made it hard to truly dislike him, much like a goddess of fortune. Later, an old man arrived at their door, carrying a stack of uniforms. He instructed the students to change into their new uniforms and attend the entrance ceremony in the hall. Kai immediately complained, finding the uniform ratty and cheap, fearing he would look like a total loser if he wore it. His roommates didn't think the uniforms were that bad, and one suggested that the school had a system where they listened to student requests, hoping for better treatment. Lucas considered this, thinking they might even be able to get their uniforms changed if they asked during the ceremony. Excited by the possibility, Kai urged everyone to hurry to the hall immediately. The students made their way toward the grand hall, anticipating the ceremony. Outside the magnificent building stood a large, elegant statue of a witch, broom in hand. Lucas, now dressed in his new uniform, stepped inside the impressive entrance. He looked around, taking in the grand interior of the hall. Lucas walked further into the vast, beautifully decorated hall, preparing for the ceremony. Kai admired the luxurious hall, though one of their roommates commented that it still wasn't as luxurious as his own home. Lucas asked about his sister Julia, and Kai pointed towards the front row, explaining that the elite course students sat there. Julia, Lucas's sister, was indeed sitting gracefully in the front row with other elite students, wearing a distinct white uniform. Kai remarked on the difference in the elite course uniforms and noted that martial arts students were placed in the farthest seats, offering Lucas a chance to speak to his sister now. Lucas decided against approaching her, choosing instead to go directly to our assigned seats. He thought the elite uniform suited Julia perfectly, while Kai grumbled about their distant seats, feeling the martial arts department was being unfairly discriminated against. They settled into their seats in the back, waiting for the ceremony to begin. Everyone in the hall watched in hushed anticipation. Suddenly, bright, fiery magic burst forth, illuminating the hall with a golden glow. Golden flames swirled around a powerful figure, signaling an impressive magical display. A magnificent level 6 spell called Fire Maul was cast, filling the air with intense energy. The student council president, radiating a golden aura, addressed the new students, telling them to feel honored. He introduced himself as Theod Foramel, the future great mage and student council president, captivating the audience. Theod announced that he would introduce the school's essential point system, causing many students to cheer in excitement. Students were amazed by his powerful aura and the fact he could cast a level 6 spell before graduation, their hearts pounding. Clearing his throat, Theod began his explanation about Allen Magic School's point system. He explained that the point system was fundamental to almost everything, from acquiring magic skills to precious books. Points could also be used to obtain magical beasts, rare materials, and even guidance from great masters. Theod emphasized that any learning resource could be obtained with points, and there were many ways to earn them. Chibi versions showed one student crafting materials for +3 points, and another brewing a potion for +5 points. He specified that earning points through labor, like crafting or alchemy, was very slow, yielding only 5 points per hour. It was far more efficient to earn points by participating in events for each department, and even the new student orientation was a good earning opportunity for current students. Lucas noted to himself how points worked, while Theod added that becoming a student council member offered a stable monthly income of points. The president received 500 points monthly, vice presidents 200, and regular members 100 points. Theo then introduced a final, more risky method for earning points. This dangerous method, he revealed, was monster hunting. He explained that behind the school lay the magical beast mountain range, a place famously crawling with various magical beasts. By hunting these beasts and submitting their materials, students would receive corresponding points. Lucas listened intently, a confident smile spreading across his face, realizing this challenging task was like a training ground made just for him. Several hours had passed, and the academy grounds were quiet under the night sky. Inside his room, the main character's roommates were sound asleep, thanks to the special tranquility incense he had lit. Finally, with everyone asleep, he was ready to go to the magical beast mountain range. He smiled, knowing that the martial arts department was at the very back of the school. This meant the magical beast mountain range was just beyond the wall behind his dorm. He planned to cross it. He stood before the tall wall, preparing to make his move. With a burst of strength, he leaped high into the air. He soared gracefully over the top of the academy wall. He landed silently on the other side, entering the wild area. He was now in the magical beast mountain range, ready for action. His first target was a huge purple black-horned frog, which he swiftly attacked with a strong kick. The frog cried out as it was hit hard. He landed another powerful blow, making sure the beast was defeated. The ground shook as the large frog fell, defeated. The black-horned frog lay still on the ground after the intense fight. He looked at the fallen frog, noting its valuable parts. It was indeed a huge black-horned frog, a good catch for his mission. He remembered that the horns of these poisonous frogs were very useful for making magic potions. He knew these materials could be turned into points at the academy, which was his main goal. The Allen Magic School was rumored to have legendary martial arts manuals, and he needed points to learn the skills once used by the martial god. He didn't have much time, so he decided to quickly scan the area to find other magical beasts. He activated his special eyes, which glowed, allowing him to see the aura of magical creatures around him. His vision expanded, showing him the locations of various beasts spread throughout the mountain range in glowing circles. He quickly encountered and defeated a level 1 shell mouse. Then, he swiftly dealt with a level 2 one-eyed bat. And finally, he took down a level 3 magic crest leopard, making sure it stayed down. He continued his hunt, easily beating a level 2 one-eyed bat with a precise strike. His attacks were fast and strong, making short work of the magical beasts. He landed a final blow on the level 3 magic crest leopard, finishing the fight. He was happy with his successful hunt, collecting materials for points and ingredients for making special elixirs. Yet, he felt a strange quietness in the forest. He carried his large bag of collected items, noticing how few traces of magical beasts there were, which was unusual. He wondered if a very powerful magical beast lived nearby, making the other creatures stay away. He sat down and focused, preparing to use his special sight to find any hidden powerful beasts. His eyes glowed again, extending his awareness through the forest. He could sense a strong, dark energy emanating from a nearby cave. The cave was dark, hinting at the powerful creature within. Suddenly, a fierce wolf's face appeared in his mind, its glowing purple eyes staring out from the darkness. He smiled, realizing he had found the powerful beast he was looking for. The creature was about a kilometer away, and it had already sensed his presence too. He stood near the entrance of a dark rocky area, the bag of collected goods by his side. He then saw the ice fire wolf emerge, its body covered in dark energy, its eyes glowing with purple light. It was a level 6 ice fire wolf, a truly formidable magical beast. He understood that, because it was a wolf, it would have a very strong sense of its territory. The wolf let out a powerful roar. Challenging him, he smirked confidently, ready for the tough fight ahead. He moved with speed, his eyes glowing with determination as he prepared his attack. He launched himself forward, delivering a strong punch directly at the wolf. The ice fire wolf retaliated, breathing a powerful blast of ice at him. He blocked the ice breath with a shield of ice he created in his hand. The wolf's eyes glowed, its frosty breath continuing to attack. With glowing eyes, the wolf intensified its ice attack, He deflected the ice with his own power, the wolf's claws striking near him. The wolf then attacked with a powerful ice claw, tearing at the ground. The ground shattered from the wolf's strong claw attack as he dodged. He thought that if he had trained more, he could have torn off the wolf's leg with his current strength. Small pieces of ice magic fell around him, showing the power he had used to defend himself. He looked at the wolf, challenging it to continue the fight, asking if it was done already. The wolf roared, its eyes now glowing with a fiery orange light. It unleashed a burst of scorching fire from its mouth. The ice fire wolf breathed a huge stream of fire, filling the area with heat. The powerful flames spread, making the cave glow with intense heat. The fire continued to expand, burning brightly. A large explosion of fire erupted from the wolf's mouth. The wolf stood in the middle of the flames, its body glowing with firepower. It let out a fierce howl as its fiery aura grew even stronger. The ground around the wolf was charred and smoking from the intense heat. He dodged the fire, getting close to the wolf to deliver a counterattack. His fist glowed with power as he aimed a punch at the fiery beast. He landed a solid punch on the wolf, breaking through its fiery defense. He followed up with a powerful kick, aiming for the wolf's body. The wolf cried out in pain as his kick landed hard, causing it to bleed. The wolf tried to attack again with fire, but he was too fast. He delivered another forceful blow, striking the wolf with all his might. The ice fire wolf finally collapsed, defeated and badly injured, lying on the ground. He stood over the fallen level 6 ice fire wolf, the fight now over. He noted that the wolf was skilled enough to control both fire and ice, two opposing powers. He realized what a truly rare magical beast the ice fire wolf was to possess such abilities. He looked at his hands, his eyes glowing again, showing his powerful internal energy. A fierce white wolf with glowing purple eyes struggled as a powerful hand held it down during a tough battle. The magical beast roared, letting out a blast of energy as it tried to fight off its attacker. The young man stood firm, his eyes focused, as blasts of fire and ice magic erupted from the struggling wolf. The ground shook and cracked from the raw power unleashed by the magical beast's attacks. The young man calmly observed the scene, noticing the water vapor rising from the intense magical clash. Note, the visual shows the aftermath/effect of the clash rather than observation, but continues the action sequence leading to the observation in crop 6. He moved with speed and grace, dodging another burst of magical energy from the beast. The text overlay, "This is water vapor," is moved here as it fits the observation theme, although crop 5 showed the visual effect better. The white wolf tried to escape, scrambling across the rocky ground, but its opponent was too quick. It was clear the wolf was injured and desperate, trying to get away from the relentless pursuit. The young man closed in, determined not to let the powerful beast escape his grasp. He leaped towards the wolf, ready to deliver a final strike to secure his victory. He stated, "Not letting you escape." With a powerful blow, the young man struck the wolf, pushing it further down. The wolf cried out in pain as the force of the attack threw it back, leaving it bleeding on the ground. The young man kept up his assault, showing no mercy as he continued to press his advantage. The wolf was sent spinning and crashing, finally defeated after a long and challenging fight. The young man felt a surge of satisfaction, enjoying the thrill of battling such a large and powerful magical beast. He believed this impressive capture would earn him a great number of points. Fighting large magical beasts feels great. This one should fetch many points. Suddenly, the ground began to rumble, and the young man's eyes widened in surprise. The supposedly defeated wolf was roaring again, now surrounded by a fiery aura. The young man quickly landed on a shattered rock, bracing himself for the unexpected turn of events. He looked around at the scene as the wolf gathered its remaining strength for a final desperate attack. Flames burst around the wolf as a huge wave of scorching fire erupted from the beast, filling the entire area. The young man had to jump high into the air to avoid the overwhelming fiery blast. The wolf unleashed its full power, roaring as fire blazed from its mouth and body. More enormous pillars of fire shot out, trying to engulf the young man completely. The flames grew more intense, closing in on the airborne young man. He focused intently, shouting for the beast to stay still as he prepared his own counterattack. With a burst of light, the young man launched a powerful upward strike, aiming for the beast. The attack connected, throwing rocks and debris into the air around him. He watched with narrowed eyes as his attack hit its mark, shaking the ground even more. The powerful blow caused more destruction, sending shockwaves through the area. The young man continued his assault, striking the beast with another burst of energy. He wondered if this intense battle would be his end, feeling the pressure of the beast's power. He decided he had no other choice and had to use his last and most risky plan. The magical beast lunged at him again, its massive paws ready to strike. The wolf thought, "Am I going to die here?" The young man's face was grim as he prepared for the beast's final attack. The white wolf collapsed to the ground, defeated by the young man's desperate move. He then held two glowing orbs, one blue and one orange, which were the beast cores from the fallen magical beast. He looked at the orbs, surprised to see the beast cores floating in his hands. He realized these were actual beast cores. Magical beasts in this world sometimes have a beast core inside them, a rare and powerful item that is their source of power. He remembered that if a single drop of human blood touches a beast core, the magical beast becomes that human's subordinate, and he asked the wolf if it wanted to serve him. He decided he would accept the wolf as his subordinate. It's a rare magical beast. A satisfied smile spread across his face, pleased with his unexpected fortune. He felt this was a great and unexpected gain, noting that having a level 6 subordinate magical beast was very rare even for mages. However, he also thought that this particular beast didn't seem very intelligent, which was a bit unusual. He knew that truly strong magical beasts were usually too proud to submit to humans. What an unexpected harvest. He then used the power of the beast cores, cutting his finger to let his blood drop on them. But this one doesn't seem very intelligent. Truly strong magical beasts are proud and would never submit to humans. His blood mixed with the cores, strengthening the bond between him and the magical beast. He held the glowing cores towards the wolf, completing the ritual to make it his subordinate. The beast cores then entered the wolf's body, absorbing into its chest and marking it as his. The wolf, now his subordinate, spoke to him, calling him master. The wolf, now much smaller, looked at him, and the young man was surprised to hear it speak. He realized he could now understand the wolf's words, a new benefit of their bond. He decided to call the wolf Aru and patted its head, acknowledging it as a good boy. The wolf seemed to ask, "Does this mean this territory now belongs to me, Uru's master?" The young man, now Uru's master, wondered if Uru had collected any good treasures from its hunting. I can understand its words now. Uru looked at its master with shining eyes, eager to show its loyalty. Uru happily led the way, shouting that its treasure was in that direction. "So does that mean this territory now belongs to me, Uru's master? I wonder if it collected anything good from hunting." The young man smiled, thinking it was very thoughtful of Uru to show him its stash. Uru bounded through a dark cave, leading its master deeper inside. "My treasure! This way!" The young man watched, impressed by what Uru was showing him. "Oh, how thoughtful of you." Inside, he found a full pelt of a level 6 magical beast, the bones of an iron arm monkey, and other valuable items. He discovered even more gemstones, realizing this was a veritable treasure trove. Pelt of a level 6 magical beast, bones of an iron arm monkey. Then Uru spoke up, looking confused, saying that this wasn't its real treasure. I found even more gemstones, realizing this was a veritable treasure trove. Uru then excitedly led him to another spot, telling him its true treasure was over there. Uru looked confused, saying that this wasn't its real treasure. Uru revealed a pile of beast cores, all level 3 or higher, including 2 rare level 6 ones, and explained it had eaten water and fire attribute cores to level up. All the beast cores here are level 3 or higher. There are even 2 level 6 ones. Uru looked proudly at its master, showing off its collection of powerful cores. The young man understood that Uru had defeated at least 2 powerful opponents to get these cores, which was impressive. He praised Uru for doing well and gave it a reward, a special medicine. To level up, you need to eat beast cores from magical beasts of equal or greater strength than yourself. In other words, Uru killed at least 2 opponents of equal strength. Not bad at all. Uru eagerly sniffed the medicine, happy with its good smell. The young man explained that it was a recovery medicine that also worked for magical beasts. He then asked Uru to recuperate and guard the treasures in the cave for him. Uru happily accepted, excited for its first mission to guard the treasure. With Uru tasked to guard the treasure, the young man wondered what to do next. He left the cave with a slight smirk, pleased with his successful adventure. The next morning, the young man headed towards the classroom building. He walked into the academy building, ready for his first lesson. He had stayed up all night, but thanks to a special incense, he felt no fatigue. He yawned, remembering how Uru kept interrupting him while he was counting his new treasures. He looked around the classroom, noticing it was empty except for a few other students. I ended up pulling an all-nighter, but thanks to the tranquility incense, my fatigue is gone. I was counting the treasures I obtained, but Uru kept interrupting. The clock on the wall showed it was time for class, but the teacher was nowhere to be seen. He wondered where the teacher was, expecting them to be waiting for the new students. Another student loudly worried if the administration had forgotten to assign a teacher for their martial arts department. The young man thought it couldn't be true, as that would be a big mistake. Suddenly, loud footsteps echoed through the hall, getting closer. A bottle rolled into the classroom, and a man's voice groaned about drinking too much. The door swung open forcefully, revealing the late arrival. The students looked surprised as a disheveled man stumbled into the room. The man introduced himself as Sigalt, their martial arts homeroom teacher, scratching his head nervously. "I'm Sigalt, your martial arts homeroom teacher." He then announced that class was starting now, leaving the students to wonder what kind of teacher he would be. "Class begins now." He looked at the teacher with a questioning expression. The homeroom teacher, Shigart, wrote his name on the blackboard while looking very tired. He then picked up a book, still appearing somewhat disheveled. The students watched him with uncertainty. Some students were shocked, wondering if this untidy man was truly their homeroom teacher. One boy expressed his surprise out loud. The students thought he didn't look clean at all. Suddenly, the teacher made a quick, loud movement. The swift movement startled the students, causing some to fall back in their chairs. They were surprised by his unexpected action. A student wondered why the teacher suddenly screamed so loudly. No one understood what was happening. The student thought about the teacher's sudden outburst and wondered what that was all about. Lucas thought about the teacher's quick moves. Lucas figured the teacher was a strong martial artist, perhaps even a level 5 or 6. He seemed very observant. The teacher, Shigart, then declared that no one should talk without his permission. He started calling out names for attendance. Teishi quickly raised her hand and answered, "Here." Next, the teacher called for Lucas. Lucas also answered, "Here," raising his hand politely. Someone in the class remembered him from the entrance ceremony. Another student, Collins, responded to his name. Lucas stood out because he stayed quiet when everyone else was excited at the ceremony. After attendance, the teacher placed a book loudly on a desk. He finished calling out names. Shigard confirmed everyone was present, then realized he had forgotten the textbook. He quickly made Teishi the class representative and asked her to get it from his lab. Teishi looked surprised and pointed at herself, wondering why she was chosen. The teacher simply pointed back at her, confirming his choice. The student who spoke earlier protested loudly against the teacher's arbitrary decision. He thought it was unfair. He insisted that the class representative should be chosen through a fair competition. He bragged about his own background and skills. This student, surrounded by images of wealth, seemed very confident in his status and ability. But the teacher quickly hit him on the head, reminding him about the rule: no talking without permission. Shigart stared at the student with a very scary look. He made it clear that his word was final. He then broke a piece of chalk and told Teishi to distribute the textbooks. For today, everyone would study on their own. Teishi saluted and accepted her duties as the new class representative. She looked surprised, then smiled. realizing this was a big chance. She felt very happy, seeing this as a great chance to change her fate. Being chosen meant a lot to her. The boy who was hit rubbed his head, complaining about the teacher's physical punishment. Lucas, however, noticed something strange about the teacher. The upset student loudly suggested they all report the teacher to get him fired. Lucas just sat there looking thoughtful. Lucas watched the teacher leave. Judging by the way he shifts his weight, he suffered serious injuries before. He wondered how strong he must have been before getting hurt. The angry student asked Lucas if he wasn't going to join in reporting the teacher. Lucas calmly replied that he never said he would. The student called Lucas out for not joining him, but Lucas just found the situation interesting. He thought having such a powerful, unusual teacher might make things more fun than expected. Several hours later, the students were outside the school cafeteria. It was a beautiful building under a bright, sunny sky. Lucas and the other student walked together towards the cafeteria. They had finished their self-study morning. The student kept complaining about the teacher, calling him irresponsible and unfair. Meanwhile, Julia, Lucas's younger sister, cheerfully waved at them from a distance. Julia rushed over to her older brother, excitedly asking him about his first class. She happily told him how nice her homeroom teacher, Ms. Linda, was. Julia explained that class representatives are usually chosen about a week after school starts. She seemed surprised about Lucas's situation. She then asked her brother if the martial arts class representative had already been picked, and if he was the one. Lucas replied that he wasn't chosen, then quickly changed the subject to lunch. He said the cafeteria food was supposed to be really good, and Julia got excited. At Allen Magic School, even meals worked on a strict points system. Students had to earn or exchange points to eat. New students who just enrolled without any points can exchange cash for points only once initially. Inside the cafeteria, a lot of delicious-looking food was laid out on the tables. It looked very appetizing. Julia was enjoying her meal, telling her brother he should eat too. She seemed to love the food. Lucas, however, seemed shocked by something he just found out. He was deeply upset, wiping away tears as he understood the unfairness of the point system. For the same one coin, the elite course gets 100 points, but the martial arts department only gets 10 points. That's outrageous. A staff member rudely stated that this unfair system was already decided. The staff member told anyone who complained to leave. Lucas realized that even the teachers openly treated martial arts students unfairly. A different teacher explained that a student's background, whether noble or commoner, didn't matter here. She added that students without talent just have to work extra hard to save up points the hard way. Lucas felt like he had lost his basic rights by enrolling here. Julia, seeing his sadness, kindly offered him some of her own food. She wanted to cheer him up. Kai was extremely touched by Julia's gesture, calling her incredibly kind. He was very emotional about it. Lucas internally noted that Kai's reaction was a bit too much. Other students were also enjoying their meals in the background. A beautiful girl with long white hair, Maya Rasta, walked towards their table. Maya greeted Lucas and Julia warmly, surprised to see them in the cafeteria. Julia immediately invited Maya to join them for lunch. Maya politely declined, saying she had already eaten. Instead, Maya offered Julia some cookies she had baked as a thank you. Julia looked absolutely delighted at the delicious treat. Julia thanked Maya enthusiastically and quickly confirmed that the cookies were indeed very delicious. She complimented Maya, saying she was a really good cook. Kai, seeing how good they looked, quickly asked Maya if he could have some too. Kai was very impressed by the taste, saying they were as good as the famous Teroy family sweets. He then introduced himself to Maya. Maya introduced herself as Maya Rasta, thanking him for his kind words. Lucas internally worried that he couldn't reveal Maya was his former fiancée. Kai then playfully teased Lucas about knowing such a pretty girl. Maya then waved goodbye as she walked away. Lucas sighed, thinking that, as expected, it was easy to run into people he knew in the cafeteria. A student asked Lucas how the cafeteria food was. Above them, Senior Theodon flew by using impressive fire magic. Lucas gave a small nod as the student greeted him. The scene was lively with many students. The student admired Theod, calling him cool. Lucas watched Theod, thinking he really loved to show off his magic, even in a place like this. Theod clearly enjoyed being the center of attention, posing dramatically with his fire magic. He loved to show off his skills. Theod, however, was thinking about how he barely managed to use such high-level magic. He was glad his medicine helped him seem cool in front of the younger students. Lucas ate a donut, recalling how he once thought Theod was amazing until he overheard Theod's private thoughts after the entrance ceremony. He realized Theod wasn't as great as he pretended to be. Someone walked quickly past Lucas's table, kicking over a bottle in the process. Lucas noticed his homeroom teacher, Sigalt, walking away. and wondered where he was headed. Sigalt was seen drinking from a bottle as he walked, looking quite troubled and sad. The grand buildings of the academy stood tall under the clear sky. Sigalt continued to walk, stumbling slightly, as he went into another building. Two other teachers noted that Sigalt was late again for their meeting. Lucas was seen peering around a doorway, watching. They had hoped he would turn over a new leaf after becoming the martial arts homeroom teacher, but they also understood his struggles because of past events. Sigalt finally arrived at the meeting table looking weary. He stretched his arms, still appearing disheveled. Another teacher looked at Sigalt with a slight frown, probably annoyed by his casual attitude. The air in the room felt tense as they waited for the meeting to truly begin. The main teacher announced that everyone was finally present. The main teacher tapped the table with his finger to signal the start of the meeting. It was time to start their important meeting. He then revealed the main topic of discussion for the meeting: the magical beast taming tournament. In the Carmina Empire, where many magical beasts attack often, it's very important to know how to tame many of them at once. Because of this, Allen Magic School has an annual tradition where new students join a magical beast taming tournament. A female teacher informs her colleagues that they have already prepared over 2,000 level 1 magical beasts for the upcoming competition. A male teacher suggests they hold the tournament in 6 days, just as they always do. He then questions if the martial arts students really need to take part, believing they can't compete against magical beasts and it would just be a waste of time. However, Teacher Sigalt strongly disagrees with that idea. He explains that he was thinking about the students and their growth. Teacher Sigalt firmly believes that as new students, those from the martial arts department should also participate. The blonde female teacher listens intently to their discussion. Other teachers agree, saying that all students should be treated fairly and equally. Someone wonders why some teachers, especially Linda, still support Sigalt's opinion. They speculate if Linda still thinks Sigalt is a powerful level 8 mage, as the man reluctantly agrees to let all departments join. Despite agreeing, the man still thinks the martial arts students will only cry in fear during the competition. The wise elderly teacher confirms the decision. The martial arts department will indeed participate in the tournament. Later, two teachers walk through the hallway discussing the recent meeting. One teacher asks Linda if she truly feels okay with the martial arts students joining. The other teacher stands beside her, looking concerned. The other teacher expresses concern, noting that even though martial arts needs real combat, the magical beast taming tournament might be too challenging. Linda then recalls some important words she learned a long time ago. She remembers a saying that a coward without the courage to face difficulties has no right to call themselves a martial artist. She also recalls that the person who taught her those words would expel any student who refused to participate in such tournaments from the martial arts department. Back at the school, it's announced that the magical beast taming tournament will happen in 6 days. Teacher Sigalt tells his students that after class, they will have combat training outside to ensure they have the strength to defeat magical beasts. A student yawns, wondering if the tournament is just to pick a class representative. He then thinks there is no need to participate since their class representative is already chosen. The student with dark hair watches the scene calmly, contemplating that he needs to be careful not to use too much power and hurt his sparring partners. Lucas, the main character, watches the combat training thoughtfully. He quietly thinks to himself that he needs to be careful not to use too much power and hurt his sparring partners. During the intense training, a female student lets out a shout as she executes a move. She shows off her impressive skills, landing a powerful kick. It is clear that everyone who passed the martial arts entrance exam possesses considerable ability. Among them, Teishi is especially strong, with her power being second only to Lucas himself. Another student is sent flying by a powerful blow, emphasizing the high level of strength in the training. Lucas easily deflects an attack, proving that Sigalt has a good eye for talent. Sigalt then calls an end to the day's training. A student wipes sweat from his brow, looking completely worn out. He sighs in relief, happy that the training is finally over. As students head to the cafeteria, Collins tells Lucas he will bring him food later as promised. Having made a deal, Collins explains that he made a deal where someone brings him 2 points worth of food in exchange for 2 coins. Lucas expresses that he doesn't care who does it. He apologizes for not sharing such a good deal earlier and promises that Sharp can take the next one, while Lucas expresses that he doesn't care who does it. Lucas thinks that Collins is quite clever for managing to earn pocket money while also keeping his relationships with others smooth. Collins approaches Lucas, asking if he thinks he's smart and offering to teach him without any tuition fees. Lucas simply smiles politely. He declines the offer, thanking Collins but saying he will pass. Kai then realizes why Lucas doesn't need to make such deals for food. Kai thinks Lucas doesn't need to worry about food points because he has a sister in the elite course. feeling quite jealous. However, Lucas confirms that even without Julia, he wouldn't have any trouble getting meals. Under the moonlight, Lucas stands on top of a defeated magical rhinoceros, which is bleeding, showing he caught his own dinner. He wipes a small smear of blood from his chin, indicating a tough hunt. Lucas explains that he simply benefits from nature's bounty for his meals. He roasts a large piece of meat over a crackling campfire. Lucas sits by the fire, thinking that if he didn't have to look after Julia, he could use this dinner time for even more training. He remembers that Vice President Mina was trying to get close to Julia again today, which worries him. Lucas feels he cannot let his guard down yet when it comes to Mina. He vows that if she has any bad intentions toward Julia, he will definitely make her regret it. A small, white, magical wolf, Uru, watches Lucas intently. Lucas holds out a piece of roasted meat towards Uru. He tells Uru to eat, observing that the creature is actually quite cute when looked at closely, and that having a magical beast helper isn't so bad. Uru happily devours the meat. Lucas promises Uru that he won't hurt it if it agrees to keep him company for training after eating. The scene shifts dramatically to a different, darker landscape under the night sky. Uru's thought suggests that the training was not as easy as Lucas made it sound. The story then moves to the Ryan family estate. A woman named Catherine sits alone in a grand courtyard, looking sad. She seems lost in thought, missing her children. A man approaches her, asking if she is thinking about her children once more. Catherine sadly confirms it, saying she cannot hide her feelings from him. The man mentions that her children's classes must have started by now and suggests she visit them if she misses them so much. He kindly offers to take her, as he will be passing through Dacktown for work. Catherine is filled with joy and gratitude, thanking him warmly and expressing her happiness at the thought of seeing her children. She smiles, a loving image of her children, Lucas and Julia, appearing in her mind. Meanwhile, at Count Grind's estate, a sinister meeting is taking place among robed figures. A woman named Jessica walks into the dimly lit room. A masked figure welcomes Jessica, thanking her for coming. Jessica, with long green hair and a sly smile, observes her surroundings. The masked figure tells her to quickly sit down. Jessica, wearing a purple mask and elegant jewelry, stands ready. Someone presents a new potion called the Jade Dream. They explain that the moment someone drinks this potion, their entire body will start to glow. Jessica is given a glass of the potion. With a chilling smirk and glowing green eyes, Jessica suddenly stabs one of the robed figures, causing blood to violently splatter. The blood sprays further from the attack. The crimson liquid splatters into several glasses on a table. Jessica, looking menacing in her mask, says this is the final touch and prepares to drink the blood-infused potion. She takes a drink, then tells everyone else to enjoy themselves fully. Jessica dramatically announces that it is time to begin today's game. A glowing symbol appears on her back as she declares that the Jade Dream is a result of miraculous alchemy. The other masked figures in the room also lift their glasses, ready to drink. A blonde, masked woman sips the red potion from her glass. The group discusses the surprising news that an 11-year-old daughter destroyed the Black Wind Gang. Jessica, lounging on a bed, confirms that Julia received a level 7 blessing. She acknowledges that Catherine's child inherited the Miranda family's talent for magic. However, Jessica dismisses Julia's achievement, stating that it's impossible for a level 7 to defeat a powerful figure like number 4. She then taunts the blonde woman, saying that her child's efforts never succeed. Jessica confronts the blonde woman, asking if she wants to kill Catherine and her daughter to become the Baroness. The blonde woman, with a cut lip, nods, confirming her dark ambition. She then asks Jessica what she should do to achieve her goal. Jessica activates her magic, a purple glow emanating from her fingertips. With a cold, sinister smile, she declares that the moment a young bud withers is truly beautiful, hinting at her plan to destroy Julia. Another day of combat training began, much to the surprise of one student. The news meant more intense practice for everyone gathered in the academy grounds. The students were all very tired and sore from their combat training, feeling pain all over their bodies and not being able to sleep well. They thought their teacher, Sigelt, was like a demon for making them train so hard. Combat training continued the next morning, leaving many students feeling sore all over. Yet, some students were not hurting anywhere, which made them wonder if their bodies were tougher than the rest. One of the students proudly declared that their body felt fine, thinking it proved they were much tougher than everyone else. This made them believe they were truly the strongest student in the entire class. Kai stood tall and confident, showing no signs of being sore from the intense training. The other students looked at him with surprise, just like they did with Lucas and his friends. The boy knew the real reason why some of them were not sore at all. It was actually because of the special tranquility incense he had used. The teacher looked at the 4 students, noticing how well they were holding up during the tough training. She thought they must have really good stamina to not be hurting like the others. The determined young man was ready to face whatever tough training came next. He clenched his fist, eager to push his abilities even further. Lucas expertly blocked his opponent's kick with a swift movement of his hand. He stayed focused and composed during the intense combat training. The young man's eyes shined with fierce focus as he moved, his hand ready to strike. He looked determined, not letting his guard down even for a moment during the intense training. The intense combat training continued as one student launched a powerful punch, met with an equally strong block from another. A wave of force exploded between them, showing the student's dedication to improving their abilities. He let out a strong yell, fully focused on his moves during the intense combat training. The ground around his feet showed signs of quick, powerful movement. Lucas always made sure to hold back his true power, keeping his abilities under a strict, level 5 restraint. He purposefully kept his real strength a secret from everyone around him. The morning combat training continued with everyone pushing themselves, throwing powerful punches and kicks. They practiced hard, hoping to become strong martial artists one day. Lucas gave a confident smirk, pleased with how the training was going. He thought to himself that things were not bad at all. Lucas also felt completely fine and was not hurting from the morning's intense training. He had a knowing look, confident in his own resilience. The character watched from a quiet spot as the combat training continued on the field below. Little figures moved around, practicing their moves as the day went on. The young man looked to the side, feeling as if someone was watching them closely. He seemed to notice a presence nearby. He felt a strange sensation, as if someone was secretly looking at them. An old man sat quietly under a tree, seemingly lost in thought as leaves gently fell around him. Lucas felt like someone was watching them, and he noticed the old man nearby. The students continued their combat training intensely. One fighter quickly spotted an opening in his opponent's defense. The young man landed a strong punch, showing how powerful he was. He was fighting hard and moving fast in the training. A student cried out as they were knocked to the ground during the intense training. The other student remained focused, ready for the next move in their fight. The teacher, Sigalt, told everyone not to look away. He declared that they would fight until one person was left standing. The two young men stood ready on the training field, preparing for their combat practice. One of them confirmed he understood, clenching his fists and getting into a fighting stance. The old man, Director Otani, chuckled to himself as he slowly walked away from the training grounds. Someone offered to escort him back to the library. Director Otani kindly turned down the offer to be escorted, preferring to take his time walking back. He thought to himself that a certain young man was quite interesting. The old man watched closely, a thoughtful look on his face. He sensed that Lucas was not showing his real power. An observer wondered about Lucas, thinking that even he couldn't see Lucas's true power. He decided to remember Lucas, who was excitedly clenching his fists in the distance. Someone was on the ground, looking very tired from the training. Another person stood above them, laughing out loud. After many hours, class finally ended for the day. This afternoon, Teacher Sigalt taught everyone useful massage techniques. In the afternoon, Teacher Sigalt taught the students important massage techniques. He stressed that everyone must remember this lesson well. Afternoon, Teacher Sigalt taught everyone special massage techniques to ease their sore muscles. The main character helped a friend, and the relief was so good that the friend exclaimed in joy. Indeed, the massages worked wonders, making everyone's tired muscles feel much better. After the lesson, Lucas was happy that everyone's muscle pain was gone. Now no one would remember that only he and his friends were full of energy during the tough morning training. It was time to start building the new training ground. First, they needed to go buy all the materials. Lucas walked towards the grand buildings of Allen Magic School, one of the most prestigious schools in the Empire. He was heading to the Magic Materials Shop, known for stocking many rare items. The Magic Materials Shop at Allen Magic School was incredibly big, almost like a shopping mall. This special shop sold many rare items that regular people could not get their hands on. The Magic Materials Shop was huge, almost like a shopping mall. He knew that just like everything else, payment here was also made with points. The young man looked around the spacious shop, noticing a good selection of items. However, he also saw that everything was very expensive. He figured he would spend about 100 points each month. He knew he couldn't always depend on Julia to help him get more points. He decided he would only buy magic potions today to mix into his bathwater. He planned to exchange materials from Uru's cave for more points next time. Lucas thought about his next step, planning to exchange the special materials he had saved in Uru's cave for more points. This would help him get what he needed later on. Lucas found it frustrating to see such valuable potions used in a seemingly wasteful way, even if he couldn't suggest drinking bathwater. Meanwhile, the constant demands of the academy left many students like her feeling utterly exhausted, sighing softly in their rare moments of rest. She looks very annoyed, her gaze sharp behind her glasses. It seems she doesn't like something she just heard or saw. The young man decided what he wanted to buy from the magic shop. He held up a special card, ready to make his purchase. A student paid for his items at the counter. The total cost for his purchases was 5 points. A student completed a transaction, using 5 points from their account. The character noticed the uniform worn by the student, recognizing it as belonging to the martial arts department. A martial arts student paid 5 points for her items, which was half of the starting points given to students in her department. The shopkeeper confirmed the payment. The payment of 5 points was confirmed for the items. The person receiving the payment offered a polite thank you. Someone asked her if she could really use that much potion. They also warned her that she would regret it later if she wasted them. Lucas looked back, holding his bag of bought items. He thought he needed even more, so he planned to come back and buy more things. The lady looked upset, thinking about how martial arts students have no potion classes. She wondered why someone would buy so many expensive potions that they clearly wouldn't know how to use. The woman felt deeply annoyed, closing her eyes in frustration. She thought to herself that this was exactly why she hated nobles. Lucas thought about the potions and the bathwater. He wondered how to use them, knowing it would be a waste to just throw them out. But he certainly couldn't make anyone drink bathwater. He stood before the dark, mysterious entrance to Uru's cave, a place known to hold many valuable materials. The cool night air swirled around him as he prepared to go inside and collect what he needed. Mixing the powerful potions into the bathwater didn't make their amazing effects disappear. Because of this, it felt like a complete waste to just pour it all down the drain. He thought about how he mixed the powerful potions into his bath, feeling it was a waste if the effects weren't fully used. But he knew there was no way he could make someone actually drink the bathwater, even as a shadowy presence seemed to watch him. He had a wild idea. Maybe someone could just drink the bathwater, but that was simply too gross, and he definitely would not drink it himself. After a refreshing bath, the young man felt great and thought about gathering materials to earn points. He decided to collect common level 2 materials to avoid drawing too much attention, noticing his wolf-like pet, Uru, near his bath barrel. The young man looked surprised and a little annoyed by Uru's actions. Uru, the magical wolf, stared back at him with wide, innocent eyes. The young man then realized Uru had drunk all the bathwater he had just soaked in. Uru gave a small, apologetic glance after being caught in the act. Despite his surprise, the young man decided it was fine, saying the bathwater would also help strengthen Uru's body. Uru, however, immediately asked for beef, which made the young man call him a glutton, but he also thought it solved the problem of the wasted bathwater. He planned to exchange these materials for points over 3 days during off-peak hours, also secretly moving tools from the shop to his cave at night. While carrying a heavy tool, a woman offered to help him with magic, but he politely refused, saying he could manage on his own. The materials shop teacher thought he got his supplies from his family, which conveniently made things easier for him. He then remembered the magical beast taming tournament was approaching, and wondered if his classmates had enough motivation. The teacher, Sigalt, sternly reminded everyone that the taming tournament was tomorrow, and warned them not to slack off. Teacher Sigalt criticized Sharp for training with too many openings, raising his leg too high. He also scolded Kai, telling him he was wobbly and couldn't even defeat a small bird. Kai, however, quickly argued that he had actually managed to beat Lucas, Sharp, and Collins. Teacher Sigalt pointed to Kai, remembering that he always aimed for Kai's eyes during practice. He then asked the 3 students if they had truly lost to Kai, noting their reluctance to upset him. Teacher Sigalt frustratingly held his head, complaining about how troublesome spoiled noble children could be. He then instructed Teishi to spar with Kai, and she readily agreed. Teishi and Kai positioned themselves in the training yard, ready for their match. Kai declared he wouldn't hold back during their spar. Teishi confidently stated she would prove who was more suitable to be class representative, then politely asked Kai to go easy on her. Kai quickly launched his first attack, moving swiftly towards Teishi. He aimed a strong kick at Teishi, telling her to take this. Kai smirked, anticipating his attack would land successfully. But Teishi was incredibly fast, intercepting his attack with surprising speed. She followed up with a powerful upward kick. Teishi continued her assault with another swift kick, challenging Kai with, "How about this?" She landed a direct punch to Kai's face, showing no mercy. Kai was visibly shocked and in pain from Teishi's unexpected power. Teishi delivered a final, decisive kick that sent Kai flying through the air. Kai landed dazed, with visible marks on his head, looking strangely content despite his defeat. Teishi stood firm and steady, showing no signs of fatigue after her quick victory. Kai tried to get back up, shouting that she shouldn't underestimate him. Taishi easily blocked his next move with her hand. She then prepared another quick strike. Taishi quickly finished the spar, leaving Kai groaning on the ground. The main character noted that Kai lost, despite his physical strength, and understood why the teacher chose Taishi as class representative. Remembering that magical beasts would not show mercy, Teacher Sigalt, with a serious expression, urged everyone to give their absolute best. Taishi asked Kai if he was okay, while Lucas observed that Taishi had beaten Kai because he attacked without any defense. Kai still looked displeased, but Teacher Sigalt made a serious announcement. Everyone must tame at least one magical beast tomorrow. He warned that anyone who failed would be expelled from the martial arts department, causing Kai to look incredibly distressed. Teacher Sigalt walked away, telling the students this was their final chance, and they needed to fight with all their might until nightfall. Lucas tried to advise Kai, telling him his defense was completely lacking and needed to be fixed. Kai reacted with a strange outburst, insisting that wasn't the real problem. To Lucas's surprise, Kai confessed he had fallen for Taishi, finding her kick incredibly cool and memorable. Kai even revealed he had thought of names for his future children with Taishi, making Lucas question if Kai was a masochist. The next day, a grand Colosseum-like arena stood ready for the tournament. An official announced that students should enter in order once the gate opened, as the vast size of the venue made them wonder about the number of magical beasts inside. The roaring of the beasts below made some students nervous, while others grumbled about martial arts students being in the same venue. Some students questioned why martial arts students would even join the taming tournament, believing they would just get severely hurt. Teacher Sigalt sharply told them to focus on the tournament rules instead of wasting time with unnecessary thoughts, and the students quickly agreed. Lucas was surprised that Teacher Sigalt had spoken up for the martial arts students. Lucas himself started to feel a bit anxious about the upcoming event. Kai tried to calm Lucas by suggesting he imagined the magical beasts were Teacher Sigalt, which only left Lucas looking confused. A student imagines easily defeating a weaker version of their teacher, Sigalt. The students get excited, feeling pumped up and ready for the upcoming challenge. Suddenly, Teacher Sigalt overhears them and reminds them that low-level magical beasts cannot break their defenses, so focusing on defense will lead to a win. One student agrees to remember Lucas's good advice and promises not to repeat past mistakes. A holographic teacher explains the rules of the taming tournament, where students must tame 10 magical beasts without killing them to get a perfect score. The teacher adds that students have 10 minutes and should call for help if injured before the first group of competitors is called to enter. A student confidently walks onto the arena floor, preparing to face the magical beasts. The student realizes she is in a special barrier space, which explains how many magical beasts can be contained in the arena. Suddenly, a large, intimidating bear-like magical beast with glowing red eyes appears before her. As another beast emerges, she wonders if other competitors are deeper inside the vast barrier. With swift movements, the student casts a spell, successfully capturing a magical beast. She expertly wields her staff, magic swirling around her as she continues her impressive performance. Though more beasts surround her, she is enveloped in powerful magic, showing no signs of backing down. The teacher clarifies that the beasts have a special potion on them, and a vivid smoke will appear when they are tamed. From outside, teachers use magic circles to monitor each student's progress and record their scores. A teacher looks on in surprise as a flood of pink smoke rises from Venue 5, signaling a rapid completion, making him wonder if there's been a counting error. The successful student walks out cheerfully, while the teacher announces that the next group of competitors should prepare. Another teacher praises the girl for her amazing speed, finishing the challenge in just 3 minutes, and she thanks them politely. The girl then asks for the martial arts venue to see her brother, learning that martial arts students will compete last in Venue 10. Deciding she has time, she opts to go buy some snacks before heading to her brother's venue. A mysterious woman observes, wondering if Lucas Ryan from the martial arts department will once again show amazing results, just like during the entrance ceremony. 2 hours later, 2 male students discuss their low scores, with one worrying about being moved to a lower class, but the other reminds him that class placements are final from the entrance ceremony. He still frets about remaining in the martial arts department, especially since many mage students also manage to score only 1 point. Another student steps in, offering words of calm and telling them not to worry. He firmly states that martial arts students are just as capable as mage students in their true abilities. Teacher Sigalt arrives, telling them to have more confidence and explaining that the level 1 magical beasts used cannot injure humans, so no one has gotten hurt. He adds that martial artists are stronger in close combat than low-level mages, urging them to believe in themselves more. The students are taken aback by teacher Sigalt's encouraging words, finding it unusual, but he quickly snaps back to his usual tough self, calling them little brats. Teishi, a female student, confirms that she checked herself and found that truly, no one was injured during the tournament. She also mentions that most students are simply exhausted from using too much magic, and shares that she gathered some important details. Teishi explains that barriers restrict the beast's movement to keep students safe, advising them to seek weaker beasts if a fight seems too hard. She assures them that by managing their energy and following this advice, they will surely earn points. Her classmates thank her for the helpful tips and praise her as an excellent class representative, to which Teishi humbly replies that she was only doing her duty. From above, a hidden person smiles grimly, having noticed a student secretly listening in on the conversation. Greg reveals himself, taunting Teishi and Lucas by suggesting that the martial arts department, lacking skill, must resort to sneaky ways to get good grades. Greg announces that the martial arts department will compete shortly and warns them to perform well, implying their department might be disbanded if they fail. Greg continues to smirk, clearly enjoying their discomfort as Lucas remains quiet. He adds another insult, saying that no one would care if the martial arts department ceased to exist. Greg then declares that the department should never have been created, and walks away, laughing mockingly. Lucas looks extremely angry, recognizing Greg's bullying behavior from his past life. Lucas stands firm with a determined look, while a nervous student waits beside him. The nervous student asks Lucas if he will be the first to enter, given his top rank in the class. The student offers to go in his place if Lucas is feeling nervous, but Lucas declines. With his eyes burning with resolve, Lucas firmly states that he will go in first, just as planned. Lucas stood firm, declaring he would achieve excellent results to prove the worth of the martial arts department. He was determined to show up those who mocked them. His classmates cheered loudly, full of energy and ready to show everyone their real strength alongside him. An older man watched them, noting their sudden surge of confidence and spirit. He observed how their attitude had completely changed from being timid moments ago, and one of the students reminded the others of Lady Taishi. The man inwardly thought these kids were quite simple-minded. 10 minutes later, the test officially began inside Venue 10, a dark and misty place filled with shadowy magical beasts. Inside Venue 10, Lucas moved quickly through the challenging terrain. He noticed glowing detection magic circles spread across the area, indicating surveillance. Lucas planned to move carefully and avoid these circles, ensuring that no one outside would know what he was doing inside the barrier. With a powerful surge of blue energy, Lucas leaped, flying gracefully through the air. He remembered that when a magical beast recognizes a master, their souls connect, temporarily allowing use of the beast's abilities. A small, injured white wolf looked up, surprised by the situation. The wolf spirit wondered why its master, who was clearly stronger, needed to use its power at all. The glowing blue spirit form of the wolf surrounded Lucas as he moved. Lucas continued to move with enhanced speed and power. He understood that it was easy to simply overpower low-level magical beasts with force. Suddenly, a large, intimidating owl-like beast appeared, its eyes sharp and its presence powerful. Lucas surged forward, enveloped by a massive blue spirit energy. The other magical beasts around them scattered, crying out in fear that a high-level magical beast was present. The high-level owl-like beast radiated strong, crackling electrical energy from its powerful talons. Lucas moved strategically, using the intimidating presence of the powerful beast he had summoned. His goal was to create a situation where other students could easily make beasts submit during their own tests. To achieve this, Lucas aimed to mentally corner the beasts and completely crush their will to fight, rather than just defeat them. The once powerful owl beast was now dazed and losing control. The massive owl tumbled down, looking shocked and bewildered. Lucas knew that the strong presence of a high-level magical beast could intimidate low-level ones. The power of Uru, the owl-like beast, came in handy. The beast looked stunned by Lucas's power. He was pleased that the beasts submitted so easily, but he stated, "But until I make all the beasts in the venue submit, I can't let the magic potion's smoke leak outside." The large owl lay still on the ground as Lucas stood over it. The owl beast looked up, injured from the encounter. Lucas then decided it was time to go search for the next magical beast to influence, bidding the owl a brief farewell. The owl beast cried out, saying it never wanted to see Lucas again after such an intimidating experience. Back outside, half the time limit had passed, and Lucas Ryan still had 0 points. Lucas's little sister, however, remained completely confident, believing her brother could definitely get a perfect score just like she had. A sneering male teacher scoffed, looking exasperated next to Lucas's confident sister. He looked out toward the testing area entrance. The male teacher continued to mock the situation. Lucas's friends looked worried about the continued lack of points. His little sister could not stand the criticism and quickly began to defend him, shouting that even though her brother couldn't use magic, he was still amazing. The male teacher retorted, saying that defending a martial artist like that showed poor judgment, comparing her to her homeroom teacher, Linda. The teacher looked smugly at the angry girl, but just then an announcement boomed. 1 point earned. Lucas Ryan. Lucas's friends and sister were overjoyed, happy that he had at least scored enough to stay in the martial arts department. The male teacher stared at the scoreboard. Lucas's sister and friends were ecstatic over the first point. An older man observed the scoreboard change, realizing the situation unfolding inside the venue was far more complex than anyone outside could possibly imagine. The teacher looked increasingly furious as the score began to climb past 2 and 3 points. The teacher looked stunned as the score reached 5 points. He fumed, finding it absolutely impossible that a mere martial arts student could get 5 points, the same as their class's highest score. Lucas then reappeared, looking calm and completely unaffected by the situation outside. He explained that he had intimidated all the magical beasts, making it much easier for his classmates to score points. Now all that was left for him to do was to get his perfect score before finally leaving the venue. Lucas quickly took down another powerful beast, earning more points, which were displayed as 6, 7, and 8. With another powerful strike, Lucas secured his 9th point, just one away from his goal. The intimidated owl beast watched from above, surprised and wide-eyed by Lucas's powerful return and unstoppable progress. With a final, decisive blow, Lucas earned his 10th point. The male teacher could only stare in utter shock, completely speechless and unable to believe what he was witnessing. Lucas stood victorious and confident as the announcement confirmed his perfect score of 10 points earned. His little sister beamed with pride, happily exclaiming that this amazing achievement was just as expected of her incredible big brother. Lucas stood tall, having achieved a perfect score in his exam, much to the amazement of everyone watching. A voice exclaimed that a martial arts student got a perfect score. However, Lucas's little sister looked on happily, saying she knew her big brother would be fine. One older man, Sigalt, couldn't believe it and shouted his disbelief. He thought there was no way a martial arts freshman could make 10 magical beasts submit. Sigalt continued to question Lucas, perhaps suggesting foul play, while Lucas's sister looked on with concern. Lucas remained composed while the main examiner, a man in purple robes visible in the background, stepped forward, clearly offended by the implication of cheating. Sigalt seemed to recoil, perhaps realizing he had overstepped or been silenced by a gesture. He quickly explained that he only found it suspicious because Lucas got a perfect score after the dummy doll suddenly broke in the previous entrance exam. The examiner decided to inspect the barrier space where Lucas's exam took place. Sigalt's colleague felt it was insulting to hold a review just because a martial arts student got a perfect score. Sigalt, the man in the background, looked towards the examiner who was reacting angrily to his suggestion. The main examiner seemed upset about the suggestion of fraud, perhaps gesturing defensively toward Lucas. Lucas, with a slight smile, stated that he had nothing to hide, telling them to do as they pleased. Inside the barrier space, a magical beast stirred as a brilliant light signaled the opening of the space. An owl beast looked out, realizing the strong human from before was gone, and saw an opportunity to escape. The owl beast, along with a snake, tried to fly out of the barrier in a rush. The owl beast and snake made a break for it, shouting, "Let's escape!" However, one of the examiners quickly cast a spell, sending glowing chains from a staff towards the escaping beasts. The magic chains moved quickly, intercepting the owl beast as it tried to exit the barrier space. The magic chains wrapped around the owl beast, pulling it back forcefully as it struggled. The examiners noted that while the beasts were agitated, they weren't weakened enough to require changing the venue, as another beast seemed to be splashing around nearby. One examiner still harbored doubts, perhaps showing hesitation or worry. The other examiner admitted he found no issues upon inspection, but he still suspected something had happened with the magical beasts. They decided to continue the tournament while the 10 magical beasts underwent a more detailed inspection. The announcement confirmed no problems were found with Lucas's results, and the next competitor was called. Lucas knew they still didn't fully believe in his abilities. Lucas thought to himself that the true surprise was only just beginning, while Teishi Hime, another martial arts student, was being introduced or was ready to enter the arena. Teishi charged into the arena with fierce determination. She declared that she couldn't afford to lose to Lucas, pushing herself to perform her best as she moved toward a wolf beast. She moved with incredible speed towards a large wolf beast within the exam area. The wolf snarled, but Teishi was too quick, striking it with a powerful blow near its eye. Teishi decided on a strategy to change targets quickly if she couldn't make a beast submit within 30 seconds. She skillfully jumped onto another wolf, which instantly showed fear from her presence. She noticed its fur was similar to a monster she knew, making her wonder if companions were nearby. She landed another powerful punch, indicated by the close-up of her fist connecting. The wolf whimpered in defeat after receiving the blow. A level 3 dark wolf submitted easily to her, surprising many onlookers. Teishi wondered if this meant martial arts students weren't as weak as people thought, or if it was just a coincidence. She clenched her fist, feeling a surge of confidence in the strength of martial arts. She continued her incredible performance, making more beasts submit, like a large blue dragon-like creature, which caused her score to increase to 2. Another beast, a wild boar, was also subdued, raising the score to 3. Her eyes burned with intense focus as she continued her impressive run, striking the boar. The numbers 6, 7, and 8 quickly appeared on the scoreboard, marking her rapid submissions while her supporters cheered. The number 9 flashed as she unleashed a glowing attack on a formidable tiger. The tiger reacted strongly to the attack as the number 9 appeared next to it. Finally, the number 10 appeared, signaling her perfect score with a decisive blow that seemed to cut through the air. Teishi Hime stood victorious over the submitted tiger, having also achieved a perfect score of 10 points. Another perfect score of 10 points was announced, leaving everyone in shock, especially the smiling young man who seemed to be Lucas's supporter. The same examiner, still suspicious, decided to send Teishi's 10 submitted beasts for detailed inspection too, while Teishi remained calm. She realized Lucas was right. The magical beasts in the tournament weren't as scary as she had believed, proving that martial artists could be just as strong as mages. During the tournament, a martial arts student fought fiercely against a magical bat, which seemed very scared of the powerful attacks. The student delivered a strong blow, causing an explosion of energy on the ground, clearly overwhelming the magical beast. He felt very pleased with his performance, as the results showed that Alto Sharp had achieved a perfect score of 10 points in his match. In another match, Decio Collins bravely engaged a huge, ape-like magical beast, landing a powerful kick. Decio, showing great skill and confidence, also secured a perfect score of 10 points in his challenge. Next up was Kai Taroi, who confronted a large, striped tiger-like beast, delivering a strong punch. The tiger beast was clearly defeated, its form glowing red as it fell, showing Kai's victory. Kai Taroi celebrated his own achievement, proudly displaying that he too had earned a perfect score of 10 points. The scoreboard flashed, showing top students like Julia Ryan, Iway Miranda, and Lucas Ryan, all proudly holding perfect scores of 10 points. As the tournament went on, many martial arts students, including Alto Sharp, achieved perfect scores one after another, securing top ranks. Teacher Sigalt watched from a distance, a small, knowing smile playing on his lips. He calmly took a drink, observing the scene unfold with a mysterious air. Other staff members carefully inspected the magical beasts and the barrier around them, confirming that everything was normal. An elder director then questioned why only the martial arts department's results were outstanding. Another staff member suggested that the beasts might have been frightened by the mage students who had competed before the martial arts department. The director countered, asking why this had never happened in previous tournaments. He was reminded that this was the first tournament since the martial arts department was created, and their close combat style likely amplified their fear. Understanding this, the director decided that from next year, the martial arts department would compete first to avoid such an advantage. However, he declared that this year's results would stand as they were, which shocked one of the staff members. The shocked staff member realized this meant the martial arts department would take first place, tying with the elite course and pushing aside the mage classes. The white-haired director then asked if anyone had an objection to his decision, but the protesting staff member hesitated, saying it seemed inappropriate for the martial arts department to take the top spot. The staff member felt it was unfair for the martial arts department to win largely due to luck, but the director stated that luck is also part of one's ability. He firmly added that, since the students were not at fault, their results could not be taken away. Director Otani agreed with the decision, supporting the white-haired director's judgment. Director Otani agreed with the decision, supporting the white-haired director's judgment, and the protesting staff member responded, "Yes, sir." The white-haired director then ordered everyone to go and announce the results, and the protesting staff member reluctantly agreed. As the staff member walked away, he cast a furious glare at Sigalt, silently vowing, "Sigalt, I'll remember this. His face twisted with intense anger, showing his deep frustration over the situation. Director Otani approached Sigalt, noting that this was a very important matter for the martial arts department's future. He then asked Sigalt, a level 9 martial artist, if he knew the true reason behind the outstanding results. But Sigalt said he could not share the details. Sigalt did assure the director, however, that the situation was ultimately a good thing for their school. The director decided to keep quiet about Sigalt's true abilities, respecting his wishes, as the scene shifted to the school exterior. Meanwhile, Kai Taroi was incredibly happy and full of joy about his perfect score. He exclaimed that he had to tell his father and wondered if taming the beasts wasn't as hard as people said, thinking they must have all grown stronger since the entrance exam. Alto added that their success was definitely thanks to teacher Sigalt's special training, while Lucas also smirked, confident that his role remained secret. A moment later, the scene shifted, perhaps indicating the next day or a new discussion, shown by a door closing sound effect. Kai asked his friends what they planned to do with their bonus of 20 points for getting first place. Alto replied that he would save his points, as he still had to treat everyone to meals, which another friend quickly interpreted as Alto preparing for future emergencies. Kai disagreed, insisting that the best choice was to buy high-level materials for their combat training next month. Lucas looked surprised, asking for more details about this combat training while holding a cup. Alto then explained about the Allen Tower, the magic school's unique trial grounds, a massive and mysterious structure. He described how the tower contained a phantom world where students could encounter various races, including magical beasts, beast people, and giants. In this phantom world, students wouldn't die, allowing them to gain real combat strength by fighting different races. However, only 100 freshmen were allowed to enter. Alto worried that since all 12 elite course students would get in, it would be hard for them to secure one of the remaining spots. Kai reassured him, explaining that participants were chosen based on the taming tournament rankings, so with their perfect scores, they were sure to be picked. Alto then noticed Lucas getting up and asked him where he was going, as chairs were dramatically pushed back. Lucas replied that he was going to the materials shop to buy training equipment, and Alto immediately decided to join him. As they left, Lucas quietly thought that all martial artists desire to get stronger, and he felt satisfied that he had helped everyone get perfect scores in the tournament. Alto called out to Lucas, saying he was right to help everyone get perfect scores in the tournament. Alto suggested they all head to the materials shop together, but Lucas politely declined, saying, "Let's go to the materials shop too." This dialogue placement is adjusted as Lucas is pulling away in the following image. Lucas held up a pendant, carefully inspecting the small, detailed object with surprise. He stated that he wanted to take his time to examine the pendant that teacher Sigalt had given him earlier. A student held up a special award, asking if it was the prize only given to the first 3 who achieved perfect scores in the tournament. His friend wished the order had been just a little different, so it could have been Lady Teishi's, while the first student smiled, saying his only strong point was his good luck. The student with good luck decided it didn't matter and announced he was going to the materials shop to meet up with Alto and the others. His friend bade him farewell as he departed, leaving the academy buildings behind. Later, a large announcement board showed Martial Arts Department. Everyone perfect score, with many perfect scores listed below. A group of magic students looked on, shocked and upset by this unexpected result. Among them, Lila, a student from Greg's class, stomped her foot in anger. She shouted that they were supposed to get excellent results for 3 years straight and join the elite class. Her face was contorted with fury, clearly distraught by the turn of events. In her rage, Lila struck the announcement board with a burst of magic, shattering part of the display. Another mage then complained that the martial arts students had taken all 20 spots for Allen Tower entry. He insisted that those valuable spots were meant for them, the mages. A different student pointed out that even the magical beast-based teachers said the martial arts students didn't cheat. The angry mage, unconvinced, threw another magical dagger that glowed with energy. He caught the glowing dagger and suggested that the martial arts department must have bribed the magical beast-based teachers. Some of the students wondered if that was true, agreeing that it wasn't impossible. He continued, saying that the son of the Tarai family, who was in the martial arts department, could easily afford such a bribe. Andre, another student from Greg's class, was seen as the mage recalled seeing 2 of the Tarai heir's followers earlier. He remembered that those followers had bought the very last training equipment from the school materials shop. Lila worried aloud, asking if their precious materials would keep getting snatched by the martial arts students once the 20-point bonus was given. She then held her magic staff and sinisterly mentioned that a martial artist's meridians are more fragile than glass. With a chilling smile, Lila suggested they correct the martial artist's growth rate. A dagger was suddenly thrown through the air, signaling the start of a sneak attack. 3 martial arts students were taken by surprise, asking why they were being attacked. One of the students cried out in pain as a glowing red wound appeared on his back. Another student realized the wound was poisoned and urged them to get treatment quickly. The mages, now revealing themselves, mocked the injured students, offering to give them points if they wanted them. Mages unleashed their spells, throwing the martial arts students to the ground with powerful magical blasts. A martial arts student screamed in agony as green vines burst from his body. Lila coldly told the screaming student to shut up, stating she didn't need his points. She stood over the fallen students, holding her staff, her face devoid of pity. The injured student, looking up in pain, questioned her motives, asking why they were doing this then. Leela declared that her demand was simple. She ordered them to crawl back to the martial arts department just like that, and tell their whole class that their lives were worth less than insects. Leela then produced a potion, a cruel smirk on her face, before looking away. Several hours passed, and the sun began to set over the forest. Later that evening, a group of students searched anxiously for DCO and Alto. One student tried to calm the searcher, saying DCO and Alto often came back late from part-time jobs. The other student was deeply worried, asking why his friend wasn't panicked too. He explained that today felt different and that he had never smelled such strong blood on that road before. He quickly moved forward, following the ominous scent that filled the dark forest. His eyes glowed with concern as he realized the terrible gravity of the situation. His friend called out to him, surprised by his sudden panicked rush into the woods. They soon stumbled upon a horrifying sight, as one of the searchers nearly stepped on a hand. 2 martial arts students were badly wounded and covered in blood lying on the ground. The student who had sensed the danger looked down with rage, while his companion gasped in shock. He gently lifted one of the injured students, demanding to know who could have done such a thing. The injured student, barely conscious, whispered the name Lila from Greg's class. The terrible truth was revealed. The attackers had cut their meridians. The discoverer's anger intensified as he stared down at the wounded student. His eyes burned with furious magic, a dark aura swirling around him, signaling his resolve. Someone urgently calls out Dacio's name as he lies unconscious and badly hurt. Thankfully, he is still alive, just knocked out. Lucas quickly acts, telling Kai to find medicine while he works to stop Dacio's severe bleeding. Lucas quickly acts while Kai rushes off to find medicine. Lucas works to stop Dacio's severe bleeding. Lucas runs forward, his expression intense, heading toward the shadowy figure fleeing in the distance. It is clear that Dacio suffered a terrible attack, as his body shows signs of all his bones being shattered. Lucas recognizes this specific injury as the bone-crushing technique, a cruel method often used by black market assassins. He vows to destroy those responsible for hurting them both. Lucas stands with a fierce resolve, his face shadowed but his intense anger palpable as he looks at the injured Dacio. This isn't bullying, it is outright attempted murder. In a painful memory, Dacio is seen crying out for his parents, feeling the deep pain from his injuries. Lucas promises to avenge Dacio, vowing to make those responsible pay for their cruel actions. Someone calls out to Lucas, who is still looking at the injured Dacio on the ground. Other friends arrive, shocked to hear that Alto and Dacio were attacked, their faces filled with worry. Lucas explains that he met Teishi by chance, and while Alto and Dacio are not in mortal danger, they will need several days to rest and recover. The others are relieved Lucas gave first aid, but their anger simmers, demanding justice for the attack. One student is incredibly angry, swearing to never forgive the attackers and stating he will go to the student council the next day. Kai offers Lucas a small pouch, perhaps something helpful. Another student cautions him, reminding him that the teachers are ignoring the issue, so the student council might not take their complaints seriously either. Lucas's expression hardens. He doesn't care about their doubts and is set on his path. The students are taken aback by Lucas's changed demeanor, observing a powerful and serious aura around him. They notice he is acting like a completely different person, far from his usual gentle self. Lucas's eyes burn with fierce determination, as he declares he will settle this grudge no matter what it takes. The next day, Lucas and his friends arrive at the student council room, ready to confront the situation. The student council member listens, then asks if they want to challenge students from Teacher Greg's class to a duel. Lucas confirms, stating that if they win the duel, he will demand an apology from the students who attacked their martial arts members. He adds that if they lose, he is willing to hand over their S-rank bonus to Teacher Greg's class. The council member smiles, pointing out that there is no proof Greg's class students are the culprits. He then questions if the S-rank bonus Lucas is betting is the simple pendant he holds. With a smirk, The council member carelessly lets the pendant fall, showing his disregard for its value. He pretends it was an accident, saying his hand slipped, while laughing at their offering. He suggests that such a cheap thing is not appropriate for a serious duel, and implies they need a more substantial wager. The pendant lies on the floor, highlighting the council member's disrespectful attitude. Lucas gazes at the fallen pendant, his eyes narrowing with controlled fury, while Kai stands beside him, clearly upset. Kai, unable to hold back his anger, shouts at the disrespectful council member. Lucas, keeping his voice steady, asks what would be considered an appropriate bet then. The council member leans back, pretending to think deeply about a suitable wager, while Lucas's friends look on with concern. He then remembers an excellent idea. He starts to explain, suggesting something unique to the school would be a good bet. He proposes making the Allen Tower entry qualifications the stake for the duel. He clarifies that the losing side would permanently lose their rights to enter the Allen Tower. Lucas, after a moment, firmly agrees to this serious new condition. The duel is announced for 2 days later, immediately capturing the attention of all the students in the academy, as seen on the announcement board. Many freshmen, unhappy that the martial arts department had secured Allen Tower spots, openly cheered for Teacher Greg's class. Teacher Greg even praised the 3 students who attacked Alto and the others, while Sigalt remained silent, focusing only on intensifying combat training. Sigalt pushes the students through even tougher training, preparing them silently but fiercely for the upcoming duel. Finally, the day of the much-anticipated duel arrives, creating a buzz across the academy. Groups from both sides stand ready. A large crowd gathers around the arena, eager to witness the intense match between the two sides. The woman from the opposing team smiles confidently. Cheers erupt from the crowd, with many students loudly supporting the martial arts department. Lucas watches the opposing team closely. One of Greg's students taunts Lucas, asking if he wants to apologize, but Lucas's teammate retorts that the outcome is still unknown. The student holding a dagger speaks up, ready for the fight. The referee calls for both sides to get ready, signaling the start of the intense contest. A student from Greg's class, armed with a dagger, confidently states his intention to finish the fight quickly. His teammate, a magic user holding a staff, politely requests for the duel to begin. The duel instantly kicks off. The dagger user lunges forward, while the mage prepares a powerful spell. The mage unleashes a torrent of sharp blue ice shards, sending them flying towards his opponent. With incredible speed and agility, the dagger user expertly deflects all the incoming ice attacks. The mage is completely shocked that his attack was deflected so easily, while the dagger user scornfully asks if that's the best he can do. The dagger user stands firm, showing no signs of effort, ready to continue the fight after effortlessly blocking the first wave of magic. The mage stood confidently, his ice magic already taking hold of the arena as he faced his opponent. His opponent, Lucas, a martial artist, glared back, holding a small dagger tightly. The mage pushed his glasses up, looking calm and collected as he observed Lucas. A subtle smirk played on the mage's lips, certain of his victory. He thought Lucas had fallen right into his trap, believing the martial artist was too foolish to notice. Suddenly, powerful ice magic erupted, forming a prison around Lucas. Sharp ice crystals shot up from the ground, trapping Lucas's feet firmly. The mage declared that Lucas could no longer escape his icy grasp. With a smug look, the mage bid farewell to the spoiled noble brat. More ice magic swirled around, tightening the trap on Lucas. Lucas looked surprised as the ice magic intensified, surrounding the mage's staff. A massive wave of ice exploded from the ground, engulfing Lucas completely. Red blood dripped onto the pure white ice, showing Lucas was hurt. The mage smiled, asking Lucas if he understood his situation now. He explained that this was the result of trying to challenge a mage, as Lucas lay defeated amidst the ice shards. More blood pooled on the ice as Lucas remained silent, seemingly defeated. The mage taunted Lucas, asking him to surrender louder if he truly meant it. Still looking down at Lucas, the mage called him trash. From the stands, Lucas's friend, a girl with green hair, watched, offering Lucas a chance to admit defeat and save his life. She scoffed, not caring for the mage's arrogant offer. Her eyes showed fierce anger, ready to burst out. Lucas, though injured, lifted his head and asked the mage how long he planned to keep talking. Then, Lucas challenged the mage, asking if his ice magic could freeze lava from a magical beast mountain range. To everyone's shock, Lucas pulled out a glowing orange jelly, making his green-haired friend yell, "Idiot!" She urgently shouted for him to run away, knowing what he was about to do. Lucas threw the lava slime jelly straight to the ground. The jelly exploded with immense power, shattering the ice all around him. The force of the explosion sent the mage flying backward. The mage stared in disbelief, realizing it was lava slime jelly and wondering if Lucas had no regard for his own life. Through the smoke and debris, Lucas charged forward, his eyes burning red with determination. Lucas quickly closed the distance, his fist aimed at the mage. He landed a powerful stab with his dagger, hitting the mage in the side. The mage cried out in pain and shock as Lucas's attack landed. Injured, the mage wondered how a mere martial artist could hurt him. Lucas continued his assault, moving forward even though his legs were severely burned from the explosion. The onlookers gasped, amazed that Lucas had blown up his own legs just to escape the ice and attack. Lucas knelt, his charred legs barely holding him, remembering Lucas's advice. He recalled that once an opponent's confident magic was broken, an opening for a counterattack would appear. The mage couldn't believe he was injured by someone he thought was so weak. Regaining his composure, the mage prepared another magic spell, telling Lucas he couldn't dodge now with his wounded legs. The mage screamed at Lucas to just die quietly as he unleashed more ice magic. But Lucas, with incredible resolve, grabbed another glowing lava jelly. He detonated it once more, creating another bright, fiery explosion that pushed back the ice. Lucas smirked through the pain, his face covered in blood and grime. He leapt through the flying ice shards, launching himself toward the mage's new ice shield. The mage watched in horror, thinking Lucas was completely insane for his reckless assault. Lucas's fists, though covered in ice, kept smashing through the magic barrier. With a fierce grin and glowing red eyes, Lucas continued to break through the ice with sheer force. The mage's fear grew, muttering that ice users always make mistakes in the end. The mage desperately shouted for Lucas to stay away, brandishing his staff. Lucas delivered a final, devastating blow. He punched the mage directly in the face, shattering his ice shield and knocking his glasses off. The mage fell to the ground, defeated and stunned. Spitting blood, the mage acknowledged his loss. Pieces of his shattered ice magic flew everywhere in the arena. Lying on the ground, the mage wondered how Lucas had used brute force to destroy his powerful ice shield. Lucas stood victorious, dagger in hand, having won the first match against a mage. The announcement declared the martial arts department as the winner, as Lucas stood, bruised, but triumphant. Later, Lucas, leaning on a friend, asked if he looked cool and why he felt so strong during the fight. His friend chuckled, revealing he had secretly put an ability-boosting drug in Lucas's breakfast. Lucas then wondered about the next match, involving Taishi. Taishi, a formidable-looking girl, stepped into the arena, ready for her turn. Lucas's friend reassured him that Taishi would definitely be fine in her match. People wondered what had just happened, and some thought Andre might have held back because his opponent came from the powerful Teroi family. A young woman with fierce eyes felt frustrated, thinking she had clearly won with her skill, but no one seemed to acknowledge it. She moved with incredible speed, leaving a blur as she launched herself forward to attack. Her mage opponent narrowly dodged a thorny magical attack and realized it was a dangerous surprise right from the start. The mage declared that while martial artists cared about moral principles, mages only cared about getting results. The mage stood ready with her glowing staff, surrounded by an aura of plant magic, preparing another attack. The martial artist continued to dodge swiftly. Weaving through the thorny vines the mage sent her way. The mage looked surprised and a little scared, realizing her attacks were not landing. The martial artist closed the distance and landed a powerful punch, catching the mage off guard. The mage recoiled, blood splattering from her mouth as she was hit hard. She was shocked, wondering how her opponent, despite being only level 1, could be so incredibly fast. The martial artist firmly grabbed the mage's arm, holding her in place. She then told the mage about the important moral principles that martial artists follow. The martial artist explained that one of their most important teachings was to value human life. The mage tried to fight back with more plant magic, but the martial artist continued her precise attack. An observer was amazed, realizing the martial artist was accurately striking the mage's magical meridians. Another person confirmed that the victory was sealed, praising Taishi's sharp insight during the battle. Taishi stood victorious over the fallen mage, her failed thorny magic now harmlessly surrounding her. Someone warned that it was unwise to disrespect a martial artist's pride, announcing that the second match also went to the martial arts department. As the defeated mage lay unconscious, several poison needles fell from her hand, revealing her hidden, dangerous tactics. A man questioned an official, asking why the use of such dangerous poison needles was allowed in the match. The official, a red-haired man, calmly dismissed the concern, saying that nothing truly bad had happened, so there was no need to overreact. Another man expressed satisfaction, stating that Taishi's win served the mage's right for calling martial artists trash, and praised her teacher for appointing her. He admitted they had planned to crush the martial arts department and take over the valuable Allen Tower slots, but now they were the ones being humiliated. However, he still believed there was a chance if he used a special technique one more time. He prepared himself, focusing his energy as he stood ready for the next challenge. With a burst of sound, the announcement was made. Now then, let's begin match 3. A large magical shield rose in the center of the arena, indicating the start of the next intense battle. The mage opponent moved with incredible speed across the arena, leaving streaks in his wake. He boasted that some mages, like himself, also trained in physical techniques, mastering high-speed after-image moves. Observers wondered how Lucas would fare against this opponent, who seemed to prioritize maintaining distance over direct attacks. Lucas thought he didn't need to show his full abilities yet, but decided he should at least test the enemy. He launched a punch, intentionally holding back and only using 5% of his power to probe his opponent. His opponent's eyes widened in surprise and shock, clearly not expecting such a move. The mage deftly dodged Lucas's punch, moving like a blur of motion. Lucas paused, momentarily questioning if his strike had somehow missed its target. Then, a terrifying pressure radiated from his opponent, who was now attacking with a glowing purple blade. The mage looked confident, believing his attack would easily defeat Lucas. The purple glowing blade sliced through the air with incredible speed, heading straight for Lucas. The blade connected, and Lucas was hit, with blood spurting from the impact. Lucas fell to the ground, appearing to be defeated by the powerful blow. His opponent gloated, certain that no one could resist his ultimate bone-crushing technique. The mage continued his assault, striking Lucas with the glowing blade once more. He loudly declared his intent to shatter every bone in Lucas's body. Despite his words, the mage looked slightly worried, realizing Lucas was still resisting and refusing to be easily defeated. He was shocked that his bone-crushing technique wasn't working, while another observer expressed concern for Lucas. The mage grew visibly frustrated, seeing his powerful attack still failing to achieve victory. He had thought Lucas was hiding a powerful technique, but now he believed it was just a bluff. The mage prepared to deliver what he believed would be his finishing move. He unleashed the supposed final blow, but then paused, stating, "I think that's enough." Lucas then looked up, his eyes glowing with renewed determination, and calmly declared, "Now it's my turn." A powerful kick sends shockwaves across the ground. The sheer force from a level 1 martial artist's single leg strike leaves everyone stunned. The fighter, with intense eyes, states that now he doesn't have to worry about anyone seeing what happens next. He asks his opponent if he is ready, preparing a decisive move with a magic sword. A magical blade appears, slicing through the air towards the opponent. The fighter lands a devastating kick, impacting the opponent with immense power. The opponent screams in pain as the magic sword cuts deep into his hand. The fighter reflects on how familiar this scene feels, hinting at a past event. His power increases to 2%, showing his anger as he continues the attack. He asks his opponent how it feels to have weapon fragments piercing his hand, just like what happened to Alto that day. Another powerful strike lands on the opponent, sending a massive shockwave. The opponent screams loudly, blood gushing from his mouth. The opponent lies defeated, realizing the last attack severed his magical meridians, making him unable to use magic. An older man from the audience shouts to stop the fight. The opponent is in agony, spitting blood, barely able to speak. Finally, the opponent admits defeat, his magical energy dissipating around him. The victor stands silently, observing the defeated opponent. The older man insists the defeated student could still win, not understanding the full extent of the injury. Someone else wonders if that guy, the teacher, can't even see through his own student's grave injuries. A rough-looking man thinks this whole situation could become troublesome for them, while the martial arts department celebrates winning all 3 matches. The martial arts students are very proud, feeling confident they can beat mages now that everyone used to look down on them. Suddenly, a voice warns Lucas to watch out. The defeated opponent, Break, attempts a surprise attack with a magic blade, aiming to kill Lucas. Break quickly moves to strike with his magic, but Lucas is faster, moving out of the way. Lucas grabs Break by the neck, and Break's body glows with a strange blue light. Break is shocked, feeling like something vital is being drained from his body. He wonders what Lucas just did to him, as his power disappears. Lucas stands over the completely defeated Break, who lies unconscious on the ground. Lucas tells Break that when using the bone-crushing technique, he should have considered being counterattacked by the same method. The announcer declares Lucas the winner, praising his magnificent counterattack after Break's surprise move. This match is a complete victory for the martial arts department's Lucas. A woman in the audience looks completely stunned, finding it hard to believe what she just witnessed. A small girl asks what's wrong, as her companion realizes Lucas's technique was meridian severance, an advanced ancient art. The companion is shocked, knowing no martial artist in the Empire has used such a technique in the last 100 years, and wonders who Lucas truly is. Backstage, other students cheer for Lucas and his teammates, calling them very cool. They start boasting, saying mages are cowards and they will challenge any mage who looks down on them. Another student tries to calm them down, suggesting they just performed better than usual today. The stern teacher appears, looking unhappy with the students' overconfidence. He scolds them for overestimating themselves and warns them repeatedly not to get cocky. The students try to defend themselves, mentioning their win in the taming tournament, but the teacher dismisses it as an old matter. He explains that the martial arts department only won the taming tournament because the magical beasts were already under intense stress from prolonged attacks. In other words, he tells them that victory was simply luck. He clarifies that only Lucas and his two teammates have real ability, not the entire martial arts department. The teacher then challenges them, asking if they plan to live their lives always depending on stronger people. He asks if they are fine with leaving revenge, and even their own survival, to others, like when Collins and Sharp were unreasonably attacked and nearly killed. He sternly tells them that if they truly think such a way of living is acceptable, they will never become truly strong. He concludes by saying they would be better off quitting the martial arts department immediately if they can't change their mindset. The students look frustrated, but are determined to get stronger and prove themselves. Lucas agrees with the teacher, understanding his words. He acknowledges that martial artists need confidence, but also diligent training and must avoid arrogance to improve. Another person notes that the teacher is really starting to act like a proper homeroom teacher. The teacher looks thoughtful, admitting he doesn't want his students to end up like him, then asks what someone needed from him. A woman with blonde hair holds a letter, looking serious as she stands under a tree. Meanwhile, the injured opponent Break suffers from Meridian Crusher, an ancient forbidden technique that shattered his magical meridians in a spiderweb pattern. Break lies in bed in the infirmary, groaning in pain from his severe injuries. A fancy carriage arrived at a grand building under the night sky. Inside, someone's hand clenched tightly in anger, then slammed down on a desk. An older man wondered how a simple duel between freshmen turned into such a disaster, as his son's magical abilities were ruined. Another man angrily declared that his son could never use magic again and demanded severe punishment. He insisted on severe punishment for the person responsible, and even wanted the martial arts department to be shut down. A young man, Lucas, entered the room and agreed that a severe punishment was indeed necessary. He then revealed that the magic used by Break's group in the duel was the same magic that injured two other students, Sharp and Collins. Lucas looked serious, emphasizing that these three were clearly the ones who hurt the two students badly. He urged the principal to punish Greg and his friends according to school rules, making another person wonder if they intended to kill them during the duel. This person wondered why Lucas was bringing up these facts now, at such a crucial time. The angry father tried to change the topic, saying they should focus on who used the forbidden technique on his son, Break. Lucas calmly replied that it wasn't yet confirmed that a forbidden technique was used on Break. The father argued that Meridian Crusher was too advanced for a rookie martial artist to wield, and Lucas agreed with him. The father then scoffed, saying there was no way the rejected son of the Ryan family, meaning Lucas, could control such an ancient technique. Someone else pointed out that only an advanced martial artist could use such a technique, and teacher Sigalt was the only one present at the duel who fit that description. The focus shifted to teacher Sigalt, whose eyes seemed to hint at a deeper thought. The person directly asked teacher Sigalt if he might be the one responsible for using the forbidden technique. Sigalt, with a sharp gaze, quickly denied it, saying if he could use forbidden techniques, he would have already used them on his accuser. The principal then asked Sigalt that if he didn't think it was a forbidden technique, how he could explain Break's severe condition. Sigalt brushed it off, joking that it might be karma, and then mentioned he had asked Lucas about it afterward. Lucas, in a memory, insisted he couldn't use forbidden techniques, and instead offered his own theory about what happened. Lucas explained that Break had paid a lot of money to black market assassins to learn how to torment people, becoming known as a troublemaker. He suggested that perhaps a powerful person from the underworld, worried about secrets leaking, used the duel as a chance to get rid of Break. Lucas stood quietly, having presented his different perspective on the incident. The principal thought deeply about Lucas's surprising theory. The angry father quickly dismissed Lucas's explanation, calling it nothing but ridiculous rumors. Sigalt agreed it was speculation, but argued it made more sense than a beginner martial artist, using an ancient, forbidden technique. He stressed that no matter who did it, someone with the power to use forbidden techniques was definitely there. Lucas listened intently, as Sigalt continued to explain the dangers of such power. The Meridian Crusher was described as a frightening technique that could instantly ruin even the most skilled mage, a power no one should ignore. Later, the principal walked through a quiet, dark library, his lantern casting long shadows as he searched for something. He stopped at a shelf, having found the book he was looking for. As he picked up the book, he noticed the dust was cleared, meaning someone had touched it recently. He opened the old book to a drawing showing a specific hand shape and a human body with glowing lines. Seeing the distinct hand shape, he confirmed what he had suspected all along. A quiet chuckle escaped him as he stood among the tall bookshelves, his investigation yielding answers. The scene then changed to a hidden hot spring located in the magical Beast Mountain range. Lucas prepared to start the final healing treatment for Alto and Dezio, holding a glowing magical item. He activated the potion, which shone with a bright, mystical blue light. Powerful streams of blue energy surged outwards, beginning the intensive healing process. Alto grimaced in pain as the bright energy surrounded and entered his body. The healing energy wrapped around his leg, pulsing and crackling as it worked. Dezio, too, cried out, enduring the sharp pain of the treatment. Waves of sparkling blue energy flowed through Dezio, making him shout in discomfort. Lucas watched them, telling them to hold on a bit longer, even though he knew how much it hurt. One of them tightly clenched a fist, determined to bear the intense pain until the healing was complete. Lucas explained that martial artists, just like mages, possess their own powerful healing techniques. A few days later, a carriage arrived at Daktown. The woman in the carriage looked excited, saying they would see their children soon. The man nodded, and she added that the town looked just as it did a long time ago. The man gently called out to her, "Catherine." Catherine smiled back, assuring him not to worry, as she was just recalling some old memories. Suddenly, Catherine's eyes welled up with tears, looking surprised. A man who had just dismounted his horse heard Catherine call his name, Cyan. It was Sion Miranda, Catherine's younger brother and Iwa's father, who greeted her warmly, saying it had been a while. This meeting brought back memories of 10 years ago. Back then, fierce beastfolk tribes attacked the Empire's borders, leading to many wars. One monstrous beast roared, ready to attack. People united to fight against the beastfolk armies, with knights and mages on the front lines. After 3 days and nights of intense fighting, both sides suffered great losses. In the midst of this terrible war, a brave mage cast a powerful spell against a large beast. Young Catherine, focused and determined, used her magic to fight the enemy. Just as a beast lunged at her, a young knight commander, Holt Ryan, shielded Catherine. Holt Ryan, though wounded, looked at her with a brave and kind expression. Catherine looked back at him, her eyes wide with a mix of shock and gratitude. Having faced death side by side, Holt and Catherine promised to stay together forever. However, Catherine's father, Duke Miranda, was completely against their marriage, which led Catherine to cut all ties with her family. Sion watched this sad event unfold. Sion then thought about how fate brought their children together at Allen Magic School. Back in the present, Sion smiled, noting how fast time flies and saying he heard good things about her children. Catherine was surprised, asking if her father now acknowledged her children, as Sion told her that their father said Julia looks just like Catherine when she was younger. Sion then urged Catherine to return home, saying that their father secretly wished to see her. Catherine looked at him, asking, "Really?" Sion confirmed, but then added that her father only wanted to see her, not Holt. Catherine understood her father's unspoken condition. She told Holt to go ahead to the front lines, as he needed to. Catherine watched him with a concerned look on her face. Holt reassured her, saying it was fine. He promised to pick her up when the fighting ended, and was glad her family would let her come home by herself. Sion reflected on Holt's efforts, realizing he had set aside his pride to secretly ask for help in reuniting Catherine with their father, truly showing he was a good husband. However, Sion knew their father still could not accept that a noble mage married a martial artist, wishing someone could one day change this prejudice. He continued to wonder if anyone could ever challenge society's deep-rooted bias against martial artists. Meanwhile, a student named Kai sneezed, wondering if he had caught a cold from training so much. A girl playfully teased Kai for buying food for someone, making him tell her to leave him alone. He grumbled that once Alto and the others were better, he would definitely make them buy him food. Nearby, other students gossiped about someone they called the Luck King from the martial arts department. They were puzzled by how he managed to be lucky 3 times in a row. One student, annoyed by the gossip, stepped in and said he would deliver lunch to the dorm, telling his friend to go to the cafeteria with Julia. His friend quickly apologized and headed to the cafeteria. Julia was enjoying her meal when she noticed her friend's new hairpin, asking about it. Her friend proudly announced that Iwa-chan gave it to her as a gift from the Miranda family, which caught Kai's attention. Another student mused that it was no surprise the Miranda family wanted to get close to a genius mage like Julia, suggesting she get along with Iwa for her mother's sake. Julia then excitedly announced that she had to write a letter to her mother, informing her that she had become the class representative. Her friend congratulated her warmly on becoming class representative. Another girl holding a plate of food told Julia she would definitely become a pillar of the school and promised her full support, making Julia wonder what that meant. As the girl walked by with the food, other students in the cafeteria turned their heads to watch her. The girl with the long dark hair continued to walk, drawing attention from those around her. A little while ago, a teacher spoke to Iwa, telling her that while her mental magic was strong, it was not as good as Julia's in other areas. The teacher explained that because Julia was better in every other way, she was more suited to be the class representative. The teacher then softly asked Iwa to understand this decision. Iwa looked very upset and angry as she listened. She declared that she would prove with her skills that the teacher was unfairly favoring Julia, then quickly left the room. Another student watched her go. That student, Iwa's roommate, noticed how angry Iwa seemed and that she hadn't eaten her lunch. Feeling worried, the roommate decided to buy lunch and bring it back for Iwa. Just then, a girl named Mina asked Julia's friend if she was close with Iwa. The friend happily said yes, they were roommates. The friend praised Iwa's amazing mental magic, while Lucas thought that mental magic truly was rare. Suddenly, Julia reached out and started casting a spell on the table. A large magic circle appeared around their table, making the area quiet. Lucas realized it was a mute magic circle, meant to stop sound from leaving their conversation. And Mina gave a knowing smile. Mina remarked that very smart people could be tough to handle, then offered to show them her interesting wind magic. Lucas ate some food and thanked her, but then paused, confused by something she said. Mina then called him by his name. Lucas, eating a bite of food, asked Mina if she had come to their table for a more important reason than just small talk. Mina noticed Lucas's cautious attitude but felt confident, believing his watchful presence wouldn't matter as long as Julia liked her. Mina acknowledged Lucas's sharp mind and told him she would be direct about her intentions. She asked if they knew about the dangerous magical beast mountain range behind the school, explaining there had been strange changes to nature there lately. Mina continued, saying that the number of weaker magical beasts had gone down a lot. Even the magic crest leopard cubs, which used to be everywhere, had disappeared, shocking Lucas and Julia. Mina then revealed that 3 days ago, an Empire team investigating the area found a high-level magical beast's secret home. Julia was startled, wondering if it could be Uru's lair, as a spoon clattered loudly. Lucas looked serious, pondering the news with his hand on his chin. Julia quickly asked if Mina wanted them to go on a field mission and what the difficulty level would be. Mina looked directly at them, preparing to answer. She stated the mission was worth 100 points, causing Lucas and Julia to look surprised and worried. Despite the high difficulty, Lucas thought that he and Julia should be able to handle such a mission easily. Meanwhile, at the Grand Miranda estate, a servant carried a tray with glasses of red wine. Duke Miranda, the powerful head of the family, sat at a long table eating his meal. The large dining hall was quiet and formal, with several people sitting at the table. One young man thought about how his sister's room was clean, but she was still forced to stay in the guest room because their father was so stubborn. He noted the tense, quiet atmosphere, like a funeral, and saw his sister hadn't touched her food as Duke Miranda spoke to her, calling her Catherine. Duke Miranda announced that he would now accept Julia as his granddaughter because she possessed the qualities to become a holy archmage. Catherine thanked him, then tried to mention Lucas, praising him as an excellent martial artist who had perfect scores. However, Duke Miranda cut her off, firmly stating that being an excellent martial artist meant nothing to him. He declared that the Miranda family only cared about those with the special talent to become holy archmages. Catherine sighed, realizing her father's strong dislike for martial artists would not change easily just as a servant arrived with new information. The servant handed over a sealed letter containing an urgent update from the investigation team in the Magical Beast Mountain Range. The letter revealed a new, very dangerous area had been discovered underneath the Magical Beast's den, with an unknown level of danger. Duke Miranda read the report with a concerned expression, wondering if something bad had happened at the mountain range. He worried that the children at the nearby Alum Magic School might now be in danger. He then reminded himself that teachers and his own people were at the school, so the children should be safe as long as they stayed inside quietly. He decided it would be best to wait for the situation to calm down before going to see the children. Catherine looked sad, wishing that Lucas and Julia could just wait a little longer for things to settle. To accept their next mission, the team learns they need at least 5 people, and one of them must be a student council member. The character is shocked, remembering that just yesterday, there was no such limit on the number of people for the mission. Maya explains that the president changed the mission rules because something strange happened in a cave in the mountain range. Maya realizes the president must have changed the rules on purpose, betting that she wouldn't be able to gather 5 people. She wonders if the student council vice president is so alone that she can't even get 5 people, and understands why another student, Julia, has been close to her since the entrance exam. Feeling defeated, Maya sadly apologizes, thinking they might have to give up on the mission. Lucas and Julia quickly step forward, offering to take care of finding more people for the team. Maya thanks Lucas and Julia, but then feels a little bad, realizing she's using these good kids as a means to an end. With a determined look, Maya decides to continue with the plan. Suddenly, a new person, dressed in shining armor, appears holding a sword. He loudly announces he will help out because his best friend Lucas is going on a field mission. The knight proudly shows off his armor and shield, excited to use the advanced equipment his parents bought him. Another new member, a girl with long white hair, introduces herself, saying she specializes in water-based healing magic and can be useful. Maya seems to reconsider something as she looks at the new recruits, then quickly takes back her earlier thoughts. She mutters that these new kids are all freshmen and will just get in the way, also wondering why Lucas called someone different. She learns the other person wouldn't listen, and Maya sighs, deciding that these new members are only there to fill up the required numbers. Maya declares that she and Julia can handle the main mission and orders everyone to leave right away. She explains that even with speed-boosting magic, it will take half a day to walk to the magical beast's home, so they need to hurry. Several hours later, the group is seen moving quickly through the forest, aided by their acceleration magic. They finally arrive at their destination, a large cave entrance in the woods. They spot a flag with a unique design, realizing this area is currently being checked out by the Miranda family, a part of the Empire's survey team. Maya and the knight notice signs of a previous fight in the area, indicating others have been here before them. Lucas and Julia look on, while another character secretly thinks it's a good thing the previous team didn't find the special dwelling. Suddenly, a fearsome winged magical beast swoops down from the sky, attacking the group. Lucas quickly reacts, warning everyone about the enemy launching an attack from above. Maya quickly raises her staff, preparing to cast a powerful spell to face the incoming threat. She unleashes a strong gust of wind, shaped like a sharp blade, directly hitting the attacking beast. The wind spell cuts through the beast, causing it to reel back and bleed, while Lucas and the knight prepare to engage. The beast recovers quickly and charges at Maya again, this time firing sharp projectiles from its wings. Maya yells to summon a magic shield for protection against the beast's renewed assault. The knight bravely steps in front of Maya, using his sturdy shield to block the beast's attack, taking the hit himself. He confidently tells Maya and the others to let him and Lucas handle the close-up fighting. The knight stands firm, successfully blocking another powerful claw strike from the magical beast with his shield. Lucas joins the fight, landing a strong punch on the beast, showing his close combat skills. The knight calls out to Lucas, who then playfully tells him not to try to do everything himself. Lucas asks the knight if he can keep up with his speed, while the water magic user starts forming a protective water spirit barrier. The water healer announces that she will take care of providing support as the beast continues to attack from above. The large magical beast flies past the team once more, preparing for its next move. Maya feels a sense of teamwork she hasn't felt in a while, and realizes that this particular beast doesn't like wind or lightning magic. Maya turns to Julia, giving her a look that signals it's her turn to act. Julia's body glows with intense lightning as she prepares her powerful magic. Her staff crackles with purple energy, showing the incredible power of the lightning spell she is about to unleash. With focused eyes, Julia casts barrier magic, creating a powerful purple lightning field around the area. She traps the magical beast inside her electric barrier, while Maya observes her powerful spell. The beast thrashes wildly within the lightning barrier, clearly struggling against Julia's potent magic. Maya watches, impressed by the incredible power of Julia's lightning magic. Lucas and the knight look on, surprised by the sudden display of strong magic. Julia turns to Maya and asks if she just said something, hinting she might have heard Maya's thoughts. Maya quickly denies saying anything, as they all stand together after the powerful attack. Maya smiles to herself, realizing that she had completely underestimated the true abilities of these freshmen. A kind person heals a wound instantly with shimmering blue magic. The injured person is amazed, calling the healer a goddess. The healer blushes, saying it's an exaggeration, but secretly wishing Lucas would truly call her a goddess. Lucas, with a charming smile, thanks her for healing him, addressing her as my goddess. The healer is completely flustered by Lucas's words, scolding herself for even thinking such things and getting injured in the first place. The group steps into a dark cave, noticing how deep it stretches inside. They look around, realizing the cave is incredibly vast, with paths leading further into the unknown. One of them gasps, surprised to see a glowing light in the distance, showing an even bigger area deeper within the cave. The passage ahead is so wide that a whole army could march through it, making them realize the scale of this underground space. They figure out this isn't a natural cave, but one dug out, warning them that the underground must be full of magical beasts. Lucas agrees, explaining that the deeper they go, the more dangerous it will become, and advises everyone to stay alert. Suddenly, a group of goblins appears, wielding crude axes and ready to attack them. Powerful magical energy, purple and sparking, begins to gather, preparing for an attack. A mage unleashes a sweeping electrical spell that hits multiple goblins, staggering them. An older woman explains that these underground creatures have poor eyesight and rely only on hearing to hunt their prey. She adds that the thunder magic just now messed up their hearing, making them safe for a moment, but warns that fighting every single beast they meet is not a good plan. Kai steps forward, declaring he has a clever new plan to deal with the endless monsters. After some time, the group continues to fight, following Kai's strategy. Suddenly, a big explosion of dust and debris shows the ongoing battle against the creatures. Kai bravely runs forward, luring a huge number of monsters behind him, yelling for them to follow him. Meanwhile, two mages stand ready, channeling their powerful spells, preparing for a combined attack. Kai looks back, surprised by the sheer number of monsters chasing him and the power gathering behind his allies. The two mages unleash their combined magic, sending streaks of purple and blue energy through the air. Their powerful magic spreads across the cave floor, hitting the ground and the charging monsters. The area explodes with light and force as the combined spells wipe out the massive creatures Kai had gathered. A huge, bright explosion engulfs the monsters, and Lucas thinks to himself that this method is very effective. Lucas wonders if Kai is secretly a reincarnator because his strategy, like using a large area of effect attack, is very similar to game tactics. Kai proudly explains his plan, which involves him luring enemies to one spot so the mages can take them all out at once, adding that his advanced equipment makes it possible. Kai playfully tells Lucas he's sorry for hogging all the glory, but Lucas replies that he shouldn't assume everyone cares about attention as much as he does. Thanks to Kai's clever suggestion, the group steadily defeats many magical beasts with ease. The group continues their journey, slowly moving deeper and deeper towards the very center of the monster den. Lucas lets out a long sigh as they stumble upon a massive pile of sparkling treasure, weapons, and gold. Lucas suggests taking a break to let Julia and the other mages rest, but Kai, still luring monsters, shouts for more beasts to come out. The others watch Kai, realizing he's probably just pretending not to hear Lucas's call for a break. Kai finally returns, announcing that he's brought a new wave of monsters and tells the mages it's their turn to deal with them. He then looks around confused, wondering where everyone went, as he suddenly finds himself alone with the beasts. The rest of the group hides, talking about sacrificing Kai, even though it's his own fault. One of the mages mentions she's running low on magic. One person sadly says goodbye to Kai, wishing him well in the afterlife, while another vows to save him if he has even a tiny bit of life left. The others tell the concerned teammate not to take it too seriously, just as a powerful booming sound echoes through the cave. One of them gasps, asking if that loud noise was Kai, wondering what just happened to him. They realize the sound came from the very center of the den, guessing that the survey team must have found the boss, and discuss if they should go check. Everyone looks worried, their faces showing concern about the strange noise and the situation. Lucas notes that the smell of blood is very strong. One of the mages offers everyone a recovery potion she brought from home. Another team member thanks her for the potion. They decide to check on the survey team just in case, even though they believe the survey team is very strong. They cautiously move forward, the darkness around them beginning to glow with an ominous red light. As they reach the center, they are met with a horrifying sight: the fallen bodies of the entire survey team surrounded by a chilling red aura. Everyone is utterly shocked and horrified, realizing that the entire survey team has been wiped out. One of them immediately cries out, declaring the mission a failure and ordering an immediate retreat from the dangerous area. Suddenly, the ground erupts, and a giant, monstrous hand bursts forth, throwing rocks and debris everywhere. The immense creature smashes down, causing a powerful impact that shakes the whole cave. The terrifying monster continues its assault, unleashing another devastating blow. The massive beast continues its furious attack, its immense power causing the very ground to tremble. One brave character steps forward, ready to face the towering, monstrous beast alone. A huge, angry monster with glowing blue eyes stared fiercely, ready to attack. One of the students, a girl with glasses, looked on in shock as a giant axe swung through the air. Everyone realized with dread that a terrifying minotaur, a powerful beast, had appeared before them. A young man among the students understood this was no ordinary mission. A calamity-class monster shouldn't be here, and he felt a strange familiarity with its presence. The minotaur lunged forward, forcing the young man to yell, "Look out!" as he prepared to defend. The monster's powerful attack crashed down, shaking the ground. The minotaur continued its fierce assault, swinging its massive weapon with immense force. Just in time, a strong ice shield appeared, blocking the monster's devastating blow and shattering into pieces. Another student quickly asked if Mina and her big brother were okay, wondering if Mina had cast the ice shield. Mina shook her head, explaining that she was not the one who cast the shield. She revealed that the person caught in the Minotaur's hand was actually the one who created the ice shield to protect them. The Minotaur glared at the injured person in its grasp, annoyed that they had interfered with its plans. The students watched, realizing that even with terrible wounds, this brave person had still saved them. The severely bleeding person urged them to hurry and call for help from the Imperial Army. He then shared a grim truth. The ancient seal in this place had been broken just before the Minotaur struck him again. The Minotaur dealt another heavy blow, causing the brave person to cry out in pain. The monster held the injured person by the head, threatening to devour every last one of the students. Two of the girls, shocked and angered by the Minotaur's cruelty, stared with wide eyes. As the drama unfolded, a small potion bottle fell from one of the students' pockets, bouncing softly on the ground. One of the girls looked up with a determined expression, her eyes reflecting a newfound resolve. The injured person, now glowing with magical energy, bravely defied the Minotaur, calling its threats nonsense. The Minotaur roared, "Die!" as the injured person unleashed a powerful burst of ice magic from within its grasp. A brilliant explosion of ice enveloped the Minotaur, cracking and shattering all around it. The injured person, still alive but weak, urged the others to report what was happening there right away. The two girls agreed, though one of them expressed sorrow for not being able to save him. The main character, with a worried look, shouted at the girls to run while they still had the chance. The injured person, now fully encased in ice, bravely held the Minotaur back, buying time for the students to escape. Trapped in the ice, the injured person thought that he had done everything he possibly could for everyone. But the Minotaur was too strong. It began to break free from the ice, angered by the mere insect who tried to sneak attack it. The massive Minotaur shattered the ice, its roar echoing through the cavern as the students watched in horror. With a gruesome gulp, the Minotaur swallowed the injured person whole, a chilling act that stunned the onlookers. Suddenly, a bright pink blast of magic struck the Minotaur, making it flinch. The monster let out a pained grunt as the magical attack hit its side. The girl with the staff, her face filled with anger, declared that the fallen hero was a great warrior, not just an insect. She quickly sent another glowing blue magic spell flying towards the Minotaur. The girl with glasses, the vice president, also joined the fight, casting a wind bomb spell while questioning why they were attacking instead of running away. She then told Mina that she would hold off the monster, and Mina should go report to the outside. No narration available for this crop. The main character strongly disagreed, reminding her that a first-year student could not possibly hold off a calamity-class monster. He admitted that it would not be easy, but his eyes showed a fierce determination. The Minotaur roared, commanding all of them to die, as it prepared to unleash another attack. The main character insisted that he would handle the monster and told the others to hurry and escape. The vice president pushed him back, firmly stating that he should get back. She declared that, as the vice president, it was her duty to protect everyone. The girl with the staff added that she couldn't run and leave her big brother and Mina behind, revealing she had already sent a message spell to Kai for help, urging them all to fight together. Mina looked surprised, saying the girl could have mentioned her communication magic sooner, as the three girls prepared to face the Minotaur side by side. The Minotaur roared in frustration as it was hit by another combined magical attack. Despite their efforts, one of the students expressed doubt, thinking they couldn't beat the monster even if they worked together. The main character smiled confidently, radiating a golden glow, and asked them to believe in everyone. With a powerful golden punch, the main character charged forward, launching a strong attack at the Minotaur. He declared loudly that there was no way they were going to lose to a monster like this, ready to fight with all his might. An axe, stained with blood, swings fiercely through the air, ready to strike a powerful blow. A monstrous beast reels back from an attack, its furious roar echoing as it takes damage. The ground beneath the monster cracks and crumbles, showing the force of the ongoing battle. The beast's eyes glow with a chilling blue light, its dark, powerful form showing its anger. A young man, Lucas, stands ready, his hands glowing with warm magic as smoke rises around him. Lucas unleashes a flurry of glowing punches, striking the monster with rapid, powerful blows. The monster's eye is wide with pain, reflecting the impact of Lucas's magical attack. A female mage, draped in white, calls out to Lucas, urging him to keep the monster busy while she prepares her own spell. Lucas quickly agrees, as the monster snarls, calling them worthless insects in its rage. The furious monster prepares to lash out, ready to strike Lucas with its massive hand. Lucas looks back, a slight smile on his face, seeing that a young girl has begun to channel her powerful magic. The girl, surrounded by crackling purple lightning, shouts angrily for the monster to stop bothering her big brother. Bright purple energy surges and crackles around her, building up an immense amount of power. The powerful lightning strikes the monster, engulfing its massive form and causing it to cry out in pain. The monster recoils, shuddering as the purple electricity courses through its body. Lucas moves in quickly, landing more strong blows on the electrified beast. The monster lets out a pained roar, feeling the combined attacks of its opponents. Lucas exclaims that he hit a weak spot, freezing the monster in place, and signals for the final strike. The girl, still channeling lightning, prepares her Thunder Arrowbell spell for a decisive blow. Meanwhile, another mage, cloaked in blue, prepares her Windcutter spell, aiming for the helpless monster. She gathers shimmering blue wind energy, forming a concentrated orb in her hands. Both mages shout, putting all their strength into unleashing their powerful spells together. The lightning and wind spells fly towards the monster, a combined assault of elemental magic. The wind magic slices through the air, hitting the monster with sharp, swift force. The monster is battered by the continuous wind attacks, unable to defend itself. Badly wounded, the monster curses in frustration, blood dripping from its mouth. Its eye glows menacingly, as it vows to get revenge and kill them all once its wounds heal. A mage with long silver hair steps forward, stating firmly that she will not allow that to happen. She summons a huge orb of water, shouting, "Take this!" as she prepares to drench the monster. She unleashes a powerful waterfall spell, completely soaking the monster from head to toe. The monster is now dripping wet, covered in the mage's water magic. Water swirls around its form, ensuring that every part of it is thoroughly soaked. The mage notices with surprise that the monster's legs have already healed from the previous attacks. The monster, despite being wet, lunges forward with its axe, claiming the water doesn't hurt it. It leaps high into the air, preparing a devastating strike against the mage. The monster roars, promising to devour her as it closes in for the attack. The lightning mage ponders out loud what happens when a soaked body is then hit with an electric shock. She charges her staff, a powerful surge of lightning ready to be unleashed. She declares that the monster will pay for the soldiers it killed, and unleashes a massive lightning attack. The amplified lightning strikes the soaking wet monster, creating a huge explosion of light and force. The monster screams in agonizing pain as the powerful electric shock courses through its body. It is utterly overwhelmed by the supercharged lightning, collapsing from the immense impact. For a moment, the overwhelming power causes the scene to fade into darkness. The monster lies still on the ground, defeated, as Lucas stands over it, observing the outcome. It is heavily damaged and unresponsive after taking the full force of the combined magic. Lucas smiles, looking at his teammates, commenting that such a clever strategy was expected from a top student. He raises his glowing hand, ready to deliver the final blow and finish off the monster for good. One of the mages looks confused, letting out a surprised "ha" as something unexpected begins to happen. Suddenly, a dark red, ominous energy erupts from the ground around the monster, surrounding Lucas. The mages watch in horror, completely shocked and confused by the sudden, terrifying change. Lucas feels an intense, crushing pressure from the red energy, struggling to stand. The dark red aura grows stronger and more menacing, pulsing with dangerous power. The overwhelming pressure forces Lucas to his knees, his eyes wide with alarm. The shadowy red energy takes on the form of monstrous eyes and sharp teeth, revealing a new, terrifying entity. The red, shadowy monster lunges at Lucas, its maw open as if to consume him. A knight watches from a distance, his face filled with shock and fear at the sudden, powerful emergence. The knight falls to his knees as the ground trembles, looking at a collapsing mountain, and wondering if it's an earthquake. He quickly decides to go call for reinforcements, urging everyone to hold on as he rushes away.